Alright, welcome everyone to the Zerospace.gg tournament. It's called Sting. It's going to be a best of 5 and sporting in the northwest in yellow. We've got Starat playing as the Protectorate faction. And battling against him today, sporting in the southeast. Who have we got, Soap? It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Farman. Here in the southeast, we have Arrival of the Birds playing as the Legion in the teal. And he's one of our oldest, most continuous, consistent players. So sort of the new up-and-comer on the ladder versus one of the old stalwarts.
Yeah, it's great to have him back. Of course, Starat's kind of a new face to the esports scene in Zerospace, although, of course, the esports scene is very fledgling, but it's great to have him on board. Pretty excited to see what he can do. It's actually the very first game I'm casting of his, so it's going to be the first time I see any of his strategies. He's already got, Birds has already got the Krieger pet, if I'm not mistaken, a new unit for Zerospace, and chomping at the bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's a fun idea to separate those and have the pet go harass while Kragar clears towers by himself. Birds already has all 3 of the towers here, so he's going to be getting those levels of experience very quickly, which doesn't just help the hero, it helps the whole army get better.
Yeah, of course, and we do actually see some of the Moran hover tanks coming out here for Starat, the Protectorate. He's actually sniped the little pet, and so he's probably going to have a bit more of the map control now. Hopefully look to get those towers again.
Yeah, those Moran hover tanks going to harass the Legion Harvesters a little bit. The Exalted will be able to push them away. Oh, they're using the new ability. That little line above their head of those Exalted, the rhino-looking things, means that they have Dark Blessing on them, which means for 15 seconds, and you can see they're stunned now, for 15 seconds they get a bonus, I believe it's 70% attack and move speed, and then they get stunned for 5 seconds after that. So sort of like a super stim with a stun at the end.
Yeah.
But that let them chase away the enemies before they got stunned.
Yeah, really nice new mechanic for them, actually. Allows them to kind of duck and dive, get out of pickle, maybe even charge down enemies to finish things off. And this is a new unit, isn't it? It's got the Predator for the Protectorate.
Yeah, the Protectorate's undergone a fair amount of changes, including some visual updates. What they just dropped, that little invisible thing, you can barely see it there. That is a chaser mine, which literally pulls itself up out of the ground and chases units down and blows up. It does do friendly fire, though, so you got to watch out for enemies dragging it right into you.
Yeah, lots of changes have happened, and look at this. Holy moly, the pet, the Mammoth. That's the upgraded pet, right? It's got a lot bigger, having lost some of the bestiary units, if I'm not mistaken.
That is the new bestiary unit, the Mammoth. The pet's right there under it. And it has an Exalted, a Steel Sworn, excuse me, which used to be called a melee thrall on its back. It's really strong against buildings and it has a ton of armor. I think Birds is going for the Mammoth Bust, which means he's just going to bully down that base with the Mammoth because the Mammoth's anti-building damage is huge. It's got too much armor to go down before the building does. I imagine this is going to go down and then he's going to recall. One more hit.
Yeah,
even all the Protectorate forces can't handle the armor when he gets it out this early. Can he get it recalled? He did it!
Yeah, this is massive, because now, obviously, Birds is on 2 bases, so he's got his economy rocking and rolling, and, these Hexite income is at 840 compared to the 504. Now, granted, Starat has got another base, particularly because there's another Mammoth going for this base, and he's probably going to take it out as well, or it might be a bit close for this one.
Yeah, good find on that second Mammoth. This is a bold move. I don't know if he's going to get it.
He's just about going to lose a Mammoth.
Not quite.
It's worth the shot. It worked once. It unfortunately didn't work the second time. So Starat going to be pushing that away. And actually, that Mammoth is very low. If you can try to snipe that, that will be pretty important. It's pretty slow moving, so probably could just about reach it. Although maybe reinforcements will come in for Birds.
Oh, second Mammoth coming in. I have not seen anyone using Mammoths this early, this much. I think it's really interesting that he's trying this.
Yeah, this is great to see. We've already in game number 1, we've seen so many new mechanics, new units for Zerospace. The devs have been cooking, and you love to see it. Now, I wonder whether, actually, this is looking like a very strong push here for Starat. Of course, a bit lower in terms of the income of Hexite, but getting units out thick and fast.
Yeah, it's Birds also has a 3rd base just to the southwest of our screen, and even if Starat doesn't push through right here, he can probably go snipe that base. The other thing is Protectorate gets these yellow bars. That's veterancy. Those units are a lot stronger, especially once they reach 3 yellow bars. They're about twice as strong as they start out. So that Predator with 3 bars, a bunch of these Predators with 2, means that they're just very strong units. And that happens when they get a lot of kills, which happens when you try to bully down a base. So this game is swinging a bit into Starat's favor.
Yeah, I can imagine he's definitely going to want to keep those units for as live as long as possible, because those are premium units now with the 3 yellow bars on them. And Krieger getting a couple of shots off, though, picks off a few of those hovers.
That was big, yeah. That was a huge hit. Let's see, he got that nuke upgrade. He just finished it, and it is the best first nuke you could hope for. Probably saved him.
Yeah, definitely a big standoff, but you get the feeling now with the number of towers that Birds has got here, probably should be okay, going for a couple more bestiaries as well. And a couple of talents coming in for both players as it happens. We've got War Experience for Birds, we've got Efficient Upgrades, and Life Pact, which is actually the Dark Blessing kind of upgrade you talked about earlier on. It's going to be upgraded for him.
Yeah, now it'll heal units. While they're stunned for that 5 seconds, it heals them for 10% of their maximum health every second they're stunned. So after they dash around like crazy and hit things much faster, they get stunned but heal.
Yeah, and looks like actually Star went up for the improved veterancy as well as the production efficiency, so should be able to make those units quick time, but also if you can make them last long and make sure they don't die too quickly, veterancy is going to make that army really, really strong. Speaking of which, look at the number of Protectorate commanders going across the map. A lot of them.
Yeah, he's got a Cyclops in there too. That's a good anti-heavy unit. Really good against the Mammoths with the Steel Sworn on them because it ignores armor and just powers up the longer it hits you. So he's countering what Birds is doing.
Yeah, and despite having a lot of map positioning here, Birds has slowly started to lose a bit of steam. It's still got the tower on the west side, but has drawn down a Valkyrie Beast to try and hold this position.
Yeah, that's his mercenary top bar ability. Love the Valkyrie Beast. It's massive, it's fun, it punches things really hard.
Yeah, good damage coming out here for Birds, though, I've got to say. Commanders did manage to jump jet out of there, but they haven't completely retreated, and so it feels like there was a good exchange there for Birds. It's pretty much holding on, and maybe even be able to push on forward after this.
Yeah, maybe his Rhinos are kind of going around the army. I'm not sure where he's headed there. He might have a run-by in mind.
Yeah,
I guess he's pretty confident he's going to hold this. Oh, that they just jumped out of that nuke.
Yeah, the timing is so crucial. Get it wrong for a second or a split second, and it can be devastating. But he managed to get out of there with the Commander Jump Jet. It's actually one of my favorite abilities in Zerospace. It feels so fluid, feels so smooth, and it's good to see it in action here today.
For sure. He just had the luck of the draw to run by those mines without running into them. I don't think he knows they're there.
Yeah, draws in a couple of
Protectorate Reinforce.
Yeah, it's good to see that, as it's a great top bar ability. If they're in a pinch, they're out of position maybe, drop down some of those commanders or any other units as well. You can choose depending on what you've already teched into. Can get you out of a bind, but yeah, I mean, he's kind of standoffish now. Oh, he might actually get the mothership, the Moran mothership. Although maybe the commander jumping in might put him off.
That was a good nuke, a lot of commandos dying.
Yeah.
But the Moran Halo tank there behind the mothership is pretty scary. Every few hits it fires in a line, and that line hits everything for a lot of damage.
Yeah, Inquisitress is involved as well, one of the crucial heroes for the Legion. Pretty low on health. Oh, does jump on in, does get taken down. Krieger with the nuke. Does a decent amount of damage to the commanders. Commanders do jump on through. He looks like he wants to take this fight here, Starad. I don't know if he quite has enough to... Although, to be fair, most of the units are ranged units, so Birds is the one who has to really decide to commit or go back, and he decides he just wants to fight another day.
Alright, these nets are the Rhino's new ability. It's Ensnare. It lets him trap units for a few seconds. And I use it on that Halo tank, but the Halo tank's being recalled. So that was good heads-up play by Starat to save that.
Oh, that's interesting. I've not seen that ability before. So it's coming in with the Exalted, right? The Rhinos. That's pretty cool because I guess with melee units, you know, the one thing you're always at risk at is, you know, up against ranged units. But if you've got a way to slow your enemy down with abilities and try and chase them down, that's a pretty cool one to have, actually.
Yeah, for sure. And even though it may not have looked like much at the end of that fight, Birds was able to pick off a whole bunch of those commandos as they tried to retreat. So
yeah,
that swung things a little bit.
Now we've got the Arandi Shade. It's a pretty cool looking unit, pretty nimble, and the great thing for them, they just ignore units, where they go straight through them as if they don't exist. They slide through butter and do a lot of damage. Wonder how influential that was going to be today.
Yeah, they're a really cool unit. I love the way they look and move.
Yeah.
And Birds is losing some infrastructure here.
Yeah, we'll hold on eventually, but it did lose one of these extractors. So every little helps. He's just want to be doing as much as he possibly can as Starat. He's being chased away. Ooh, look at
He
this.
is, but I knew there was something else going on. Good observing.
Yeah,
He's up in supply. He's dropping the Valkyrie Beast.
Yeah, it
He's
feels
really
like he's
putting
been
pressure
planning
on.
this for a while, Birds, right? He kind of sneakily went with the run by earlier, didn't really achieve too much, but now this is where he got some damage in, and he's taking out, I think he's taking out an extractor, or maybe not actually, as it happens.
Yeah, and down below this, he has a second force coming in from the south. Birds is really good at splitting his armies like this. He does this a lot. And it's just brutal to play against because you have to really try to split your forces correctly to deal with it.
Yeah, no, totally. I totally understand what you're saying there. I've seen a couple of games from Birds, and I feel like that's one of his characteristic kind of signature moves. Just the ability to control various armies split across the map and split them up and just do all sorts of damage. Pulls his enemy left, right, and center. Starrat's got to find a way to counteract that. Maybe the Shades grouping up together now might do some damage.
Yeah, and while this is going on, he again brought those Exalted in from the top, and he took out a couple of extractors up there. So he is hitting from more places than we can even keep up with. He's good.
Yeah, still got a couple there waiting to pounce. Monolith comes
Right.
up top ability for the Legion just to act as a bit of a static defense. But the numbers here for Birds is looking good. I feel like he's had a lot of economy build up for quite some time. Now it's starting to make its way into supply and is doing a lot of damage. It feels like actually Starrat might be struggling to hold on this left-sided position. I don't think that base is going to last for too long. And there it is. GG gets called. Birds takes the game number 1 of this best of 5. But go nowhere, guys. There's plenty more games coming your way. All right, welcome back, everyone. This is game number 2, sporting in the southwest in blue. We've got Starrat playing as the Protectorate.
And up here in the top right, also playing as the Protectorate, in the yellowish-orangish color, we have Arrival of the Birds.
Welcome, everyone, to Tenebris. And welcome to Torque and Mondar, 2 new hero units. Come as a pair, doing lots of damage. Obviously, you got Torque with his big, badass hammer. And you got Mondar with the gun behind him. If you guys haven't played the campaign, it's definitely worth having a look. These two guys feature heavily. And they're going to feature heavily today as well in this match on Tenebris. Cool map, actually 3 control towers very widely spaced out. So it's a pretty cool dynamic on this map. You've got players that are going to want to go to the edges. Of course, it's a mid-map objective. You want to be out there. You want to capture those locations. So there's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, absolutely. And Starrat up here with his hero, the tech hero, who has a relatively new skin. He worked out some. And he can take over one of those tower creeps, put a shield on it, and kind of make it his minion. He can also shield one of his own units, switch places with one of your units, and send a little line that slows everything and damages it. So he's not bad even against both heroes, Torque and Mondar, there together.
Yeah, geez, did he work out. I gotta say, I love this unit. This skin is looking really good for him. He was obviously a lot more bare bones in the alpha version, as we'd expect, but he is looking beefy. The question is, will he be beefy enough to take on 2 heroes in the form of Torque and Mondar?
Yeah, we'll have to see. And in the later game, he can swap places with units in the army, so sometimes it's nice when you're chasing them down to switch places with something and kill him, but you have to be careful that he doesn't just get killed too.
Yeah, very
So he's a
greedy
fun hero
opening,
to watch.
actually, from Starrat. He's actually gone for a triple base expansion without getting a barracks down early. So, I say that, the foundations are placed now, 2 of them. So he's going to go for 3 bases. It means there's going to be, lacking the map control most likely without, the lack of units. Speaking of which, we've got 3 units here for Birds. He's got a couple of the Valkyrie Hounds. So it's going to be interesting. I guess Starrat's going to play a bit more of the macro approach, and 2 bases out for Birds at the moment. Possibly looking to put up some pressure.
Yeah, I think Birds kind of knows what's going on here, that his opponent is probably being pretty greedy. A lot of Protectorate players go 3 bases quickly right now, and I think Birds went Mercenaries first, and he knows he needs to put pressure on.
Yeah, pressure is exactly what he's doing. If he takes down these foundations, it's not a cheap investment, and Starrat needs to get some units out quickly.
Yep, Starrat canceled that barracks before it finished wisely, saving 3/4 of the cost of it. Birds has captured all the towers, and he's getting the high yield flux behind this, so he's not behind by as much as it might appear. That's twice as much flux, a lot like getting twice as much Vespene gas in StarCraft game.
Yeah, certainly he's done a great job of getting the control towers. Although actually, Starrat did just sneakily take this one down the middle. It certainly helps just delay the XP income for Birds. And maybe he can make that... he just needs to buy time, right? He needs to just hold on for as long as he can and just not die. And his economy should start to rock and roll.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see it's already about 30% ahead of where Birds is.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a big kill. He killed one of Torque and Mondar, but the other one gets rage when he does that. So he killed Mondar, Torque gets angry.
Yeah.
That rage is wearing off now, but he killed a couple of commandos with that.
Yeah, the commander numbers are starting to build up, actually. So he's actually spreading up north. So, I mean, is there a reason why he's getting these barracks in a linear line like this? Is it because of the repairs, maybe? There's a bit more presence on the map?
Yeah, so the barracks have little drones that can repair nearby troops or buildings. Oh, and there's that swap from the tech hero. And they also can block shots. So buildings in Zerospace can block shots of enemies if those shots are straight line shots, which most are. If there's an arcing shot, it can go over, but it's a three-dimensional game. So you can also use those barracks to just hide behind. So if he wants to line up his troops and he makes a line of structures, he can have a lot of defenses there to hide behind.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see that actually, because we often do find in esports, we find players with certain characteristics, and actually maybe Tech Hero might go down, just about gets out of there. Holy moly, how did he save that?
Wow.
That was so slick. But on that point,
it says 41 hit points.
Yeah.
No shields, 41 hit points.
This is the Star special. I mean, he's got this kind of mechanic where he's building these barracks out and they line to get on the map. Maybe that's his style. And also the style of keeping that hero alive for as long as possible. That was absolutely great. And Talk, to be fair, this time Birds is doing it his side. Although Talk did just get sniped.
Oh, and Mondar's gone too.
Yeah.
Birds has the earlier Titans, which are nice. They have excellent range. But if he doesn't have the jump upgrade for them yet, it's hard to survive if those commandos hop in. He's bringing the Harvester up here. It has a heal ability. There it goes. He just healed his troops up some so he can keep fighting.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting as a strategic point, right? We had start with the better economy, but had to make units early, and of course had to commit to tier 1 units. But Birds now with the 2 base expansion only has actually teched up to Titans. So these units are pretty good at taking infantry, but they need to be in numbers. And the commander's jump jetting. He does save one of the Titans low health. It's a great micro there by Arrival of Birds, and that's one thing I love about Zerospace, right? It's got a lot of micro potential, so it's got a high ceiling, skill ceiling. But it's not so overbearing that, you know, without those neat tricks, you're not going to be too devastated.
Absolutely. And if I can point out a couple of the differences in how these two have played. Birds has gone more for a flux income play. He has more harvesters. He had the high yield flux for a while. He's been holding the towers more because Starat took an extra base and he even has a 4th base building right now while Birds is building his 3rd. But the other thing that allowed him to do is get to Titans first. And he took the talent to improve recall instead of Starat's talent to get better veterancy. So while his stuff maybe won't gain veterancy as quickly, he saved every single Titan in that fight. He managed to recall all of them much faster than you'd be able to without that talent. And he swung the supply from being in Starat's favor to being in his favor. So that was a big win for Birds, even though he was losing ground.
Yeah, Starat had a bit of a decision to make there. Did move out onto the right side with Bastions, but decided to come back home rather than go for a run by to try and deal with these Titans. And it's actually, just managed to save that Titan. Birds, he is on fire, making sure he doesn't lose them. Brings them on.
Birds with the recall micros, very good.
Yeah.
Losing the heroes isn't the end of the world here. They respawn for free after about 35 seconds. But losing the Titans is a big deal. And there's another one saved.
Oh, he does lose
that
one
one died. Yep.
He's slacking, but he still managed to do a lot of damage with this.
He's still doing damage. Yep, the supply is very close. A quick reinforce of a Titan from Starat. The nice swap, but he recalls it. Tech Hero goes down. Torque and Mondar go down.
Yeah, he's throwing everything at it. He's throwing the kitchen sink. He's throwing the hovers as well. But, I mean, this is, to be fair, Titan numbers are starting to dwindle. And you know what? Starat, with the great economy, he's got Titans of his own.
Yes, he does, and that gets pretty scary for Birds. He's behind in supply. He's behind in bases.
Yeah.
He is ahead in harvesters still, so he's getting more flux income, but that's his only lead right now.
Yeah, you get the feeling the longer the game goes, Starat will be feeling a little bit more confident about things, although this is probably an influential fight. Does manage jump check with the commanders getting out of there. Valkyrie Hounds tanking for the Titans behind for Birds. But that's a lot of Titans for Birds, right? Surely he should win that fight. I'm not sure Starat want to fight this. He does have defender's advantage, so maybe some more units will trickle in to it, but we'll have to see how this one pounds out, because Birds is starting to trickle in some units himself. Reinforcements coming on in.
We reinforce that Titan. The Titans are starting to go down for Birds. I think he was watching up north. He didn't recall any of those this time.
Yeah, this is really evenly split, although a couple of Moran hovers coming in for the west side. Valkyrie Hounds for Birds. Talk coming involved as well. I mean, it's pretty evenly split. I mean, to be fair, he's starting to gain some momentum, though, you feel, for Birds, especially on the supply count.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of wild how, with Protectorate, especially the way they reinforce the supply changes so quickly. Because they reinforce those units that, of course, take some of that supply, and they're just permanent, wonderful units.
Yeah,
Birds is way ahead in talents. If we check out that tier 4 talent, he has heavy plating. All his units have 1 armor and 25 hit points. The Titans, just as they appear, they shoot a lot of small shots, so that 1 armor is a really big deal. Getting up to tier 4 in talents is oftentimes it's time to push and try to end the game moment.
Yeah, certainly. That's a huge one. It's just going to improve every single unit that he has. He's going to be able to take down that production facility as well. So there's one thing to consider. You can have the great economy you want, but if you don't have production facilities, it's going to be trouble to keep those units alive. So he's got to make sure that he replaces these buildings if he loses them, Starap. Fighting over the central control tower. This is a huge fight. Draws down as a top bar ability. It will be the Valkyrie Beast. It's going to beast its way through, up that ramp, trying to get through there, although maybe he's holding off for now. But it's definitely a bit of standoff. Question is, who's going to dive in first? Who's going to bite the bullet and say, I've got better army? It feels it's got to be Birds with the talents, right?
Yeah, I think Birds might want to be even a little more aggressive here. I think he's just being really cautious. I think he's afraid of throwing away his lead.
Yeah, I guess if you feel like you have a lead, the last thing you want to do is throw it away. And look at this on the back line. He's got a couple of Hellfires. They could be raining down there. I mean, they're actually destroying the Bastion that's there. But probably wants to get a bit closer so he can get a bit more AoE on the main army. But he's just going to take what he can here, Birds.
Yep, he's starting to pick away at the supply structures and the infrastructure. Starat's a little bit supply blocked right now. He's at 89 out of 90. He had a lot of extra supply, but those all just got destroyed.
Yeah, and there's definitely something to be said about the quality of the army here, right? Birds has got Titans, he's got Hellfires. Whereas Starat, whilst he's kind of maintaining some supply, there's a couple of commandos dotted in there, right? At this stage of the game, you feel like they're kind of starting to become a bit more obsolete. Even with the veterancy, it feels like these Titans should be able to chew through them. Because you know what? The Titans, they've got veterancy of their own.
Yeah, there's the big jump in. He knows he's got an advantage now. He's being real aggressive.
Yeah,
those Titans are good. Oh, we even got a Griffin up here to heal his units. Those Titans will get healed back up little by little.
Yeah, he's definitely committing to this one. Commanders jump jet through, but they just jump into their deaths. And it feels like with 3 Hellfires, this could be the end of the game. There's Titans on the front line for Starrat, starting to get demolished. He's not recalling them quickly, and the jump jet out of there for Birds. Just trying to make sure he's not committing to a fight he doesn't have to take. He's going to take it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this one's over. The writing's on the wall. There it is. GG.
GG gets called. Birds is going up 2-0 in this best of 5, but of course, there's still 3 more potential games to come along. We'll see if Starap can pull one back. All right, welcome back everyone to game number 3, sporting in the northwest corner of the map, playing in teal. We've got Arrival of the Birds playing as the Grell.
And down here in the bottom right, in the light blue, we have Starrat playing as the Legion this time.
So interesting play. We've got a bit of a switch, a bit of a switcheroo, a bit of mind games from Birds going to his comfort pick, the Grell. It's pretty cool to see, but we've also got a new unit on show today, the Pet, with Krieger. And we've seen them split up. I wonder, what's the hero that Birds have gone for? Torque and Monda. So they're going for kind of the duos here, the duo act.
Yeah, there's 2 heroes that have sort of a 2-in-1 deal, and we have both of those heroes up against each other right now. It's fun to see them fight if they do. There's a lot of micro potential there.
Yeah, second base expansion coming out here for Star as the Legion. Pretty cool to see Star actually mixing it up as well. Not going for the Protectorate that we saw him go for the last 2. This is a forward base coming out here for Birds. Cheeky boy.
It is a Grell proxy. Now, this is one of the rarest things because Grell need their biomass, sort of like their grass or creep spread, in order to build things except for bases. So he's got to wait for that base to finish and then some grass to spread. You can see send another seedling over there to build. Once that happens, he can start to advance with nourishing pods that heal his units and cultivator attackers, which are spread grass and attack things.
Yeah, I mean, that's
If
a lot of ground to
without being
cover.
found, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of ground to cover to his main base. He's probably going to need that cultivator upgrade, right, for a talent, but we'll see if he does choose that in the end, time before. I mean, he's got to get the towers first, of course, get the valuable XP. Bit of a chase down. Krieger just doesn't quite get the shot on Monda. Torque is pretty low on health, but manages to run on out of there.
Yeah, heroes in Zerospace get a speed boost when they get real low, which kind of helps you not just lose your hero if you're losing a fight. It's a nice, you have a chance to escape kind of moment. And this game, with that small victory there, if Starrat finds Birds' base, Birds is in trouble. But if he doesn't, Birds might have the advantage of that. Surprise! I'm already here.
Yeah.
Oh, he's building medium incubators. Wow, so that's the equivalent of like a factory. He has his mid-tier units there. He may go for a siege build where he builds threshers, which are sort of like Starship Troopers artillery. They bury their heads in the ground and shoot out of the other end of them, and at very long range. He may also go for something different, but this is a really exciting build I have not seen before.
Yeah, whatever happens in this game, rest assured it's going to be an interesting one, because it's not sort of a strategy. It's not typical, right? It's kind of one of the situations where You don't often see this, so it's definitely going to be something new for us all to see.
Yeah, I love that both players played a different faction and are playing a different way this time. Starrat didn't go for as fast of a third, and he's putting more pressure on the map, getting the towers. Meanwhile, Birds is completely proxied.
Yeah, he's definitely getting a good staging ground to attack from, right? Torque loses his life. Mondar does manage to dash one out of there. A couple of stingers added into the mix for Birds. Now, I guess that's a bit of a, I don't know if that's a bit of a bait, just to say, hey, look, I do have some tier 1 units as well, because he's also got the medium incubators down in the east, right? He's actually managed to spawn a couple of Harbingers.
A couple of Harbingers. They have that bile ability that's pretty good against buildings here. Buildings can't dodge it. So that barracks is already at half health.
Yeah.
He also has that cultivator coming up. He can turn that into a cultivator attacker and sort of make a line of defense. He's got a nourishing pod that's going to heal his units coming up too. If he can survive the next minute, this proxy is going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, and then the biomass really helps him out, right? Heals up his units slowly if he can get on it, and so having the forward base like this is so useful to get the biomass out on the map so quickly.
Absolutely. That cultivator's a cultivator attacker now. It should be. The lights are on it. Once those lights turn on, it starts attacking things. There it goes. And Starrat's going to have to respect that little defensive wall a little bit.
Yeah, interestingly, actually, Starrat did manage to expand to a third base. It's definitely a curious, well, it's an interesting one because you got the idea, you could actually just stay on 2 bases, keep spamming out units, just trying to clear this position, right? Because you get the feeling if you don't clear this out, it's just going to get worse and worse. But he has expanded his economy, so maybe looking to play a bit of a macro game, maybe not have to try and destroy this area too quickly, just try and contain it, I guess.
Yeah, he may be able to do that. There is the threat that Birds is going to work on some of those threshers and start sieging his base from here.
Yeah, charge shot comes up as an upgrade for the thralls, gives them an extra 100% damage every 10 seconds, so that could be doing some really serious damage. Valkaru Beast comes up to tank, but that's probably going to go down pretty quickly. Got a couple of Valkaru shock troopers at the back here for Birds.
Oh, this is bad for Birds, I think. His Harbingers are all getting low. Maybe if he can save them, he'll be all right, but they use their own health to shoot their bile. So if they're too low, they can't use their ability, and if they're close to too low, they'll almost die using it.
Yeah, a couple of them have been infused, so make them a little bit tankier, a little bit stronger, and a little bit better. Torque coming into the fight as well, Mondar as well. So yeah, I'm not so sure. I feel like Birds probably could be able to hold his position. It just depends what the spending power here is for Starrat. He's getting good economy behind this, so even if he doesn't clear it out, he should potentially win a macro game, but he's got to get there first.
Yeah, absolutely. Birds has a fair amount of Hexite. I think he's microing his heart out, or else he might be able to expand again.
Yeah, I mean, the longer it goes on, right, it feels like it becomes a bit more of an all-in situation if Birds doesn't expand, but he doesn't want to let off the pressure. There's Valkyrie shock troopers. Have they been infused? It looks like they have. They are looking beefy.
They are very good against these these ranged thralls, excuse me, and especially when those thralls get stunned, if he doesn't take them out of there.
Yeah, it's got to be careful not to dive in too quickly, because if I'm not mistaken, the Valkyrie shock trooper, do they have some AoE damage, some splash damage?
They do, yeah. Their splash damage is actually buffed just a little bit a few weeks ago here, so they're quite good, especially when they're infused, and especially against these light, easy to kill in mass units that clump up real tight like these thralls.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, Starrat did actually manage to get 2 talents, considering he doesn't have any of the towers right now. He's gone for War Experience and the Mercenary cooldown. Mercenary cooldown comes up for Birds as well, but he also went for the Cultivator range, so he did indeed go for that first talent, as we kind of expected, because he wants to get the biomass sown all over the ground if he can on Ascension here. It's a healthy number of units for Birds, I've got to say.
Yeah, he's a little bit ahead in supply. He's now expanding to his third base. And he is behind in Harvesters and income, though, so... And now he's behind in towers also. It's a really close game.
Yeah, slowly but surely, Starrat is starting to get onto that map, as you said. Got 2 of the towers. It's definitely going to build up... He's even got his third talent, which would be Life Pack. Dark Blessing heals 50% target of the target's health while stunned. He's actually even got one of these Dark Disciple ranged units. We haven't seen this in quite some time. It is a new unit for the Legion with a badass cape. It's got a bit of a range attack, essentially, right?
Yeah, it shoots lightning, which is, I think, looks awesome. I get excited about him. And as you can see it right here against this, the longer they attack the same unit, the more damage they start to do, and the faster their attack speed becomes. So you can see that lightning turning from like white to purple there to show like, hey, this is starting to do damage. They lose half of that extra damage when they switch targets each time. So if they switch targets a lot, they're not that good. They're not great against like stingers and thralls and light things. But when you get them on a heavy target for a while, they start to wreck.
Okay, so going for that Valkyrie Beast with these units should be a good idea. Dark Disciples, they're looking an interesting unit for sure.
Biles. Birds hit some biles there and killed many, many thralls.
Yeah, he's just trying to group up together. The question is, Birds has actually expanded to his base now, third one. So he will catch up on the economy. I wonder, it then gives us a decision for Starap. Does he expand once again? Or does he look to just try and get the numbers up?
Yeah, you know, Starrat's under a lot of pressure on this side. If he could manage to sneak out even a handful of units and use that Legion top bar on them, he would be able to potentially take out that next base or first force Birds back home.
Yeah, he's got his own Valkyrie Beast to try and chase things down. He did have his army split up together, but now they are coming up and grouping up. Just trying to push this. He's got a lot of thralls, and it feels like Birds is starting to retreat. He's maybe feeling the pressure a little bit, but he does still have a healthy number of units, right? So he just doesn't want to overcommit when he feels like he doesn't necessarily have to.
Yeah, for sure. The Legion, Rhaegar does have a nuke upgrade. I'm waiting to see if that's coming out. If he gets that nuke upgrade, it's going to be pretty good. It's long range. It can start whittling down these structures and units Birds has in such a tight area.
Yeah, I get the feeling again, just like game number 2, Birds is really going for sort of the premium, more tankier units. I guess with the Legion, you're kind of not handicapped, but you're stuck with your thralls, and I guess you don't necessarily have hugely tanky units as the Legion. Well, you've got the armored thralls, I suppose, but how do they compare to the Harbingers and the Valkyrie? Are they pretty tanky?
Tricky. I'm not sure. They're not nearly as tanky as the Harbingers, and I feel like maybe getting a few of these Exalted, the Rhinos, and trapping some of the Harbingers, and they try to push forward and then pull back with that Ensnare ability might have been a play. It's a little late in the game to start switching into those now. I definitely think he needs that Rhaegar nuke and probably to get Gallivax, which he's building right now, and start fireballing this too. He keeps getting close to pushing it back. He just needs a little more on the abilities. Yeah,
a bit of a cheeky push down on the left side with his Harbingers, looking to take down this expansion, and probably will get it in the end. They do a lot of damage to buildings. Holy moly, he's going to take that down in no time.
Yep, they damage themselves a little bit, as you can see, but those building hits are massive. That building's gone.
Yeah,
no chance to save
this
that.
is a Bird special, right? He does this all the time, and he's showing how effective it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because we have heroes, I think there's a temptation in Zerospace to keep your army together. But almost all the time we see the top level plays involve splitting your army.
Yeah, it does mean he's a little bit short on the right side, so he definitely doesn't want to commit, but as long as he can hold things off. Gallivax with the fireball, it will land, holy moly. Should do... That was a bit underwhelming, actually. I thought it would do a lot more than it did.
We can look just a little bit south. There's a whole other thing going on in his main. Yeah, right there. He's made a bunch of Skrellings, the air units you almost never see, the mostly air-to-air mutas, and he's killed a bunch of the extractors in the main. So Starrat's income is really low.
Yeah, he's attacking from all angles, and I got to say that population supply is not looking too healthy for Starrat, and in fact, he's actually going to lose his position here, most likely. There's just a lot of Valkyrie shock troopers. Is that Mena back? We once saw Valkyrie shock troopers dominating. It feels like almost they are again.
They're very good, especially when infused now, yeah.
Yeah, it's down to 2 bases. This is looking very rough for Starrat, right? Because it's both in terms of supplies looking low, numbers of bases is looking low. Of course, this is his tournament lifeline on the game, so he's got to try and do as much as he possibly can. But he's got an uphill task now, for sure.
Yeah, I don't blame Starrat for not leaving. If he could take a page out of Bird's book and split his army and go hit that natural expansion or even the main base of Birds, I think he could maybe still... hope for a miracle here.
Yeah, it's just so difficult, right? When you've got a proxy base in your face, it's so easy to get channeled into that. It's understandably so, because it's just sort of a threat in your face. But the Harbinger's coming from the south. We'll get this around. There's Skrelling involved. There's Valkyrie hounds involved. There's the shock troopers. And he's getting into a corner. There it is. He's been backed up. Birds. He flies in with the Skrellings. And he takes game number 3. He will be progressing to the next round of the tournament. Welcome everyone to the casted game for Zerospace, and today sporting the northwest corner of the map, playing in purple, we've got Bosse playing as the Grell.
And here in the bottom right, playing in the light blue, we have Claire playing as the Legion.
Welcome everyone to Coastal Outpost. It's a map with 4 towers to go for, and they're already going for it. We've got Krieger on the field for Claire. And we've got the Prefect Asta coming out here for Bosse. Interesting that you got Prefect Asta with the Grell. Now, we have seen some shenanigans in the tournament so far. We've seen some Grell proxy bases. Question is, will Bosse do the same or go for a bit more of a standard approach? Time will tell. What we do see is a forward Arandi mothership looking to get some mercenaries nice and early, it seems.
Yes, I think I know this build. I've played against this build several times in the ladder. It's really difficult to deal with. Claire is so good with that charge, by the way. We've seen this hero a bunch of times. She did end up losing the pet, but that's okay because she still has Kragar at full health there. And she managed to take the tower. She's holding that pet back until it has charge and then charging on the enemy hero instead of just chasing it down fruitlessly and letting it get kited.
Second base expansion for Claire here.
Yeah, absolutely. So she's got the earlier economic advantage, but Bosse has been doing this thing where he builds a forward mercenary compound, in this case the Arandi Flyer, and then builds some area of effect mercenaries, which in this case I think we're likely going to see horned mechs. They shoot a purple orb that has a range and it goes through things, so it has to be able to acquire the target, but then it goes on for a very long time and deals damage to every enemy unit it passes through. And of course, as soon as I say that, he builds Arandi Shades instead first. So we'll see if we do get the horned mech strategy.
Yeah, he's going to go through, and if he does come up with clumps of enemy units, he's just going to run right through with this unit. Very nice. The Arandi Shade just ignores structures and buildings in its face.
Yep, it just runs right through them. It's really susceptible to area of effect damage because they can all stack very tightly. But if you only have single target damage, which is mostly the case so far, oh, that was a big hit. Oh my goodness, that whole attack just got turned on its head.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, right? If you go for a base, if you go for the building and you attack it whilst you're getting hit, if you don't kill it in the end, then you're going to be behind, right? Because the enemy's been damaging units the whole time, and I think this is a clear case in point. Bosse never having to back away with a lot less units that he started out that attack with.
Yeah, Claire just had a lot of patience, and using that Kragar line shot, managed to hit all the stacked up shades and stingers and just really turned it from a situation where that base was likely to go down to one where Bosse just had to retreat.
Yeah. Now, I just whilst we're waiting for some more action, I just got to say the readability for Zerospace units must have had a huge update because it's looking so nice. I think a lot of it's coming down to the saturation. The player colors has made a big difference. These units are absolutely fantastic to look at. They're very easy to see in the big fights. And things just keep getting better and better for Zerospace.
I'm so glad. Looking at it frequently, it's hard to notice the changes because they're so incremental. But yeah, the player color change was huge. I'm so glad we have that now.
Yeah, random.
We do have a chance here. Keep an eye out. Everybody watching for Abduct. That mothership can actually pull a light armored unit up into it and basically kill it. And it has a pretty neat effect. So if it's ever directly over the enemy army, we may get to see something get abducted. Sort of the Easter egg ability of the game.
Ah, I didn't know that existed. Is that something new? Is it like an activate ability?
It's not an activated ability. It's been in the game for a while, and we kind of just have been like, I wonder if people will notice this. And little by little, people have all noticed. It's been fun.
Okay. I guess it's like you're getting abducted by a spaceship. I like it.
Exactly. Yep.
Right, behind this, by the way, second base has come out for Bosse as well. So looking to not fall too far behind on the macro side of things. Is a bit behind, but the game's not lost. They've got 3 towers, and we'll be getting those talents thick and fast. Did go for the cultivator range, seemingly a very popular one for the Grell. And the first talent for Claire, war experience. Again, pretty popular here for the Legion, getting the extra experience when Claire takes out enemy units.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time they fight, Claire gets some of that XP advantage.
Yeah, gone for a Citadel, so perhaps looking to get another hero on the field soon enough. Lashes are coming on through. Just trying to kite as much as possible. Now, of course, that's pretty a sneaky one.
Block.
Exalted tried to jump down the cliff, but didn't quite get close onto the Lashes as they wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. Claire is tough to play against because it's usually death by 1,000 cuts. One good ability here, one good move there. In that case, that white orb we saw traveling is a big stun that can stun a lot of units, but it really impacts the first thing it hits. So instead of trying to move everything out of the way, Claire just sent one Exalted Rhino in front to absorb the stun so everything else could keep fighting. And that kind of let her win that fight. So all these small micro moves that you can almost miss are making a really big impact this game little by little.
Yeah, third base up for clear. That's a lot of these exalted. So primarily melee units, which is kind of interesting, right? Because on the other side of things, so Bosse, we see primarily ranged units. And I guess probably the exalted will try and charge things down a little bit. Might lose a couple of them in the meantime.
That was a good stun. A lot of exalted going down, and I think mostly Bosse just lost the hero, which will respawn for free. He does have the horn mechs now. I knew he'd make them eventually, and they're doing some good work against the ball of enemies too. Exalted also have a new upgrade. It gives them an additional 420 range, so they can become a decent ranged on range fighter as the game goes on.
Yeah. Now I understand that the Legion actually have a new top bar ability called Dark Blessing, if I'm not mistaken. Are we expecting to see that maybe on these exalted? Maybe chase things down a bit quicker?
Yeah, we could see it on the exalted a bit. A lot of times, Legion players will save it up a bit and use it on some of their more tech-heavy units that can benefit from it even more. But in the meantime, we may see it on these once or twice.
Yeah, got a bit trigger happy there with the camera. Sorry, but we did see a big nuke right on top of one of those horned mechs, which were actually infused, so it did a lot of damage to it. It's moving north now with the premium units with, well, I guess they're fairly premium units, exalted, right? They're kind of tier 2, I guess, for the Legion.
You have to make a bestiary to make them, so it takes some more flux than like the barracks units, but after that, they're individually pretty cheap. Oh, this is, oh man, the ensnare that traps the units there and then they get nuked. There's no chance to dodge. That was a good wombo combo by Claire.
Yeah, that's crazy. Stun and hit. It's if you pull it off like that, it's I mean, you can't do anything about it, really, can you? You get stunned and you get hit.
Right. I mean, it looks easy to do, but it's tricky to, you know, click all those different buttons that fast. Make sure you select them and can still nuke before your hero gets killed.
Yep.
Oh, the run by here.
Around though, or with the lashes maybe. Might not be able to. I mean, is it a fight you really want to take? Sure, you got the ranged attack, so maybe get some hits in there and there. But oh, nuke managed to get out of there with the lashes and pushed back.
Yeah, the nuke does have a little bit of residual radiation, and Bosse decided to brave that to chase this army off. Claire's just getting a little bits of damage wherever she can. It's
overall 3 bases for both players, so the economies will start to equal out. But as you say, Claire just seems to get a couple of hits more here there, and slowly but surely, maybe the numbers will start to build up. Oh, Pet does go down. Oh, the nuke didn't quite land there. Lashes managed to get out of the way. Alkaru Beast will tank as much as it possibly can. And a couple of these units are being infused, or snared in fact, so Lashes aren't in good numbers as they once used to. Prefect as it gets dragged on in. Tara gets deployed, and they're both gonna just get out of there. But again, you feel like maybe Claire just took a bit of a better fight there.
Yeah, and by keeping the pressure on, Claire's ahead in talents now. She had 3 of those 4 towers. Nobody has the 4th one. This is one of these games that's been so back and forth that no one's taken that top tower yet, which happens sometimes when players are very aggressive. So she effectively had all the towers for that whole time, and that experience advantage is pretty big.
Yeah, speaking about aggression, that aggression is coming up for Claire. She's moving north. She's just not letting up, right? She's keeping the army active and making Bosse feel, anxious about moving out. Nuke will get hit again, stuns those Lashes and nukes them out. It's a deadly combination.
Yeah, and the Valkyrie Beast comes down, and I think... And the mothership gets killed too.
Yeah, this is starting to spiral out of control, right? Just some really big fights here for Claire, and slows down those Threshers. Means they can't get away. And there it is. GG gets called. Claire takes game number 1. It's a cracking start to this set, but there's plenty more games coming along the way. So stick around. You won't want to miss it. All right, welcome back, everyone. This is game number 2. And today, spawning in the northeast, in blue, we've got Claire as the Legion.
And down here on the bottom left, playing in purple, they are Grell, they are Bosse. Down 0-1 so far, but bringing some interesting strategies. Hopefully bringing it back right here.
Yeah, over on Tenebris with 3 control towers, really spaced out on the map, so it should pull players to them, and I'm wondering how much they will commit. I mean, we saw in the last map, actually one of the towers wasn't taken for a very long time, so we'll see. I mean, maybe there could be some greed. Either way, what we do see is that Sabretooth moving quite close up, just trying to pin down Prefect Asta, making sure it can't get out of the map, and we already see Claire with a lot of aggression coming out to get that central control tower.
Yep, she's taking it. We see another a Rondi mothership being built in a forward position, in a sneaky forward position. So if Bosse can sneak that out, maybe he'll go with the Shades early again, or maybe he'll go straight to the Horn Mechs, but probably one of those. When they're infused, they're pretty great.
Yeah, both players staying on one base actually, so not being super aggressive in terms of macro just yet. And I suspect when you're up against the Legion with these double hero, you probably don't want to be too greedy. But already the regular incubator rather for the Grell is up and running. Prefect Asta comes on, stuns Krieger, and then just backs away.
It was a nice long-range stun, but it's tough to follow up when the pet's there in your face.
Yeah, I mean, the chase down's coming in. Prefect Asta's got to be careful, though. Massive shot there by Krieger. Prefect Asta's got to be careful. Does have that extra movement speed, so should be able to run out of there. And as you kind of predicted, that was going to happen for game number 1. It's actually happening for game number 2. It's the Randy Hornbeck.
Yep, I think Bosse is trying to kind of disguise his builds a little bit in case they do get scouted to say, hey, it's going to look the same every time, but it might come out different.
Yeah, it's pushing forward with this now. And with the Randy Mothership, I guess it can act as a bit of a tanking unit if the enemy decides to attack it, although with the ground units and the melee units for the Legion, they're probably not going to fall into that trap.
Yeah, I mean, they can shoot up a little bit, so they may be distracted for a moment or two. Oh, the Legion top bar ability is used on that Exalted. It's moving around like crazy, attacking real fast, doing tons of damage.
Yeah, they...
oh, he took out the hero. That's wild.
Grell just going to recall everything. But the Dark Blessing is definitely a nice, interesting, new ability for the Legion. Just makes them a heck of a lot faster. Makes sure that they can do the damage they want to do, or just run out of a fight they don't want to take.
Yeah, for sure. That was a really nice use of it. Really kind of turned that fight with that Dark Blessing, which is the whole purpose of it. And I think the Mothership's gone. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, big investment. Oh, the Flux looks really nice at the moment. Bit more kind of deep into the ground on the right side, but very visible on the minimap at least. Second base is being pushed, although that's actually a third base now for Bosse, so expanded pretty quickly. Needs to get units out quickly though, because doesn't want to get punished. Clear on 2 bases, so potentially should get plenty more units on the field pretty quickly. Perfect Asta just sniping some of the Exalted. I suspect Bosse should be able to hold, but it's going to be a bit of a dicey one. He loses one of the Horde mechs.
Yeah, those Horde mechs are infused, so that's a lot of power committed and early resources.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder whether Claire decides to move into a third base. Instead, it's gone for Citadel for now. Double Bestiary. Probably going to be pumping those Exalteds.
Yeah, I think she's going to stay on Exalteds for a while. Probably get Nuke out of Kragar again. And maybe she may just kind of stick to the same strategy she did last game until somebody, beats it.
So this range attack from the Horned Mech, does it go through units and so it kind of attacks everything it hits? So it's pretty slow to move, obviously, so it's pretty easy to dodge, I guess, in a way. But is that how it works?
Yep.
It just shoots itself through units?
Exactly, yep. It aims at a unit originally, and then you can dodge it entirely, or it can go through your whole army. So it can do anywhere from 0 to a ridiculous amount of damage.
Yeah, as you can see, if it lands, it does a heck of a lot of damage. I imagine it's a unit that you want to have in large numbers, and once you do, it can be hard to stop. But with 1 or 2 here, it might be sniped down. It looks like that one will be sniped down.
Yeah.
Randy Shades come out to try and hold off the push, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Bosse is hoping to, stack those up and not lose them throughout the game. And Claire knows how valuable they can be later, so is working very hard and using that Legion top bar to speed up her units to chase them down and finish off those Horned mechs when they get low.
Yeah, Claire still leading the supply. And just making sure that Bosse can't move out too easily. She does have 2 of the 3 towers so far. Not moving out to the northwest. Making sure, I mean, ultimately, she knows that if she's at least got 2 of the towers, she knows she's going to be ahead. A couple of the Radish Shades moving out. The Harvester could be sniped out if it's spotted, and, well, that means less flux income. Good stun there. Makes those Exalted have to go back north and back home for now, at least.
I do think it's kind of fun that neither one of them bothered with the top tower. There's players being so aggressive, and Bosse, I don't think, has felt safe to leave.
Yeah, for sure. Especially on 3 bases at the moment. Although, having said that, Claire has moved on to a 3rd base herself. Playing a bit of catch-up, but she's not too far behind, right? And having the talents, It almost feels like actually if you're slightly behind in terms of bases for a short term, but you got the talents coming on in, it can be a really worthwhile trade-off.
Yeah, it's the kind of the question of the game, right? Like, what do you want to prioritize? Economy, talents, flux, hexite. There's a lot of things to balance and consider, and depending on your strategy, you can make any of them work. But the talents are definitely important, and I think Claire has the edge right now.
Yeah, moving forward as well down south. Bosse kind of look to move out slightly, although actually, to be fair, it's mostly nourishing pods for now. The army is getting ready to roll out, it seems. It's got a couple of lashes, a couple of Randy Shades, but being on third base means that the unit numbers aren't looking too exciting for Bosse. Taking the fight, stuns comes out, the Randy Shades are stuck in the ground, and they're going to be sniped most likely.
Yeah, that's tough. That exalted ability to ensnare is really brutal on those Shades.
Yeah, she's using it so well.
Bosse had a really nice side shot from these horn mechs. If Claire didn't have a couple more exalted coming to reinforce, that kind of distracted them. They would have shot sideways through the army, and she would have had to move everything or get hit with everything. But a couple more exalted from the north. I'm not sure if she saw that or if that was luck. If she saw it, it's a really nice move. Bosse almost had that really good line drive hit.
Yeah, and it's kind of similar to game number one, just constantly trickling in fights and winning them and then backing off. And Bosse's got to find a way to hold off because this army is starting to build up in size for Claire. And it's looking menacing.
Yeah, absolutely. She did finally get that top tower too, so all 3 towers to none is a big deal. That she's going to get that level 4 pretty soon, and level 4 buffs your entire army. And that's a scary point.
Yeah, it feels like that's almost like a tipping point, right? Because it seems like such a powerful ability, or talent rather, affecting your whole army. It could be something that just says, hey, my army's just definitely going to be better than yours now. Yeah,
absolutely. If the armies are close before that talent, then now you have the edge. And if you're already ahead, which is the case right now, it's real tough to survive.
Yeah, goes for the turret there, Asta, but doesn't last for too long. The numbers are just really scaling. Also, we see a much larger Sabertooth. And this is one thing that's great about going for bestiary units for the Legion. If they die, the Sabertooth continues to improve and get bigger. Speaking of the Sabertooth, does go down.
Damage too. Oh, there's that burning fireball. It's going to kill the extractors on that base.
Yeah, it leaves a bit of effect damage afterwards, right? Would it be enough to take out the extractors? It'd be kind of crazy if it does, but either way, what we do know is that it's done so much base damage. The numbers are now really not looking good for Bosse. Loses Prefect Asta. The nuke wasn't even needed in the end, and this is looking dicey, right? Because just the sheer numbers-wise, Claire is just booming ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Bosse does have enough power to infuse a couple more horned mechs, and I'm wondering if he's going to have that cooldown off soon. He has 3 horned mechs right now. If he gets a couple more, maybe he feels like he could start to snowball the area of effect damage they do. Otherwise, I think he would have left the game.
Yeah, I'm kind of struggling on Flux, actually. Spending absolutely everything he's getting there, Bosse, so he's just trying to hold for as long as possible. And you say he's got the horned mechs. Fireball comes out for Gallamax. And because it's upgraded now, it just looks so good with the explosion and the effect it leaves on the ground. But slowly but surely, the pressure is starting to mount, so Bosse is on a bit of a timer. Needs to get the unit numbers up as quickly as possible.
Yeah, the Malkara Beast right on the Horn Mechs, forcing them to back up and stop shooting.
Yep, another nuke comes on out.
Yep, buildings can't dodge nuke. It's pretty good. There goes the burning fireball just to zone these up the ramp. It's going to explode right there. It's going to be hard to come down the ramp without taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, but bear in mind, behind all this, Claire has moved over to a 4th base, so it's looking good. Claire's just obviously cementing her position. Has got the better economy, got the better number of units, and also Inquisitress added into the mix.
Oh, I do like that Bosse made, even though he's not using it yet. He made a Thresher. He's got that AoE damage potential. Oh wow, Claire jumped right through level 4 to level 5. That's pretty deadly.
Yeah, that monolith is definitely going to be a great staging ground to attack with. Horn Mechs getting hit by the fireball. Holy moly.
Oh, wow,
do so much damage with that. And this base is probably going to go down. There we go. And it feels like Claire now just needs to run on in. Although, these threshers might be caught a little bit. They need to be on the back line. Yeah. They might deploy here. So potentially could do some damage. Maybe Claire's in a bit of trouble, though taking out those 2 Horned Mechs is absolutely huge. That Valkyrie boost should be able to hold on and tank any sort of damage coming on in. But again, Claire does damage and then backs away again. Doesn't want to overcommit and lose the army.
Yeah, absolutely. And she nuked that first Thresher too, so that one went down. The second one has done a lot of damage. There's some nice artillery units. They're not bad at all. If Bosse was able to gather some more Horn Mechs and Threshers, I feel like he could stage a defense, but it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, Thresher does get some hits on the Inquisitors. It was a good hit for sure, but that Thresher doesn't have much in front of it, and it does go down in the end. And that's a big loss, right? You want to be able to keep those units alive as long as possible, get a critical mass, but Claire's just not letting him have it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bosse, I mean, Claire is, kind of all these little micro moves that are so good. Like, Bosse destroys everyone on the ladder with this. A lot of times you don't get to the Thresher phase because the Horn Mechs, when they are able to build up and he's using them, are so good. So to see Claire dismantle it like this is really impressive.
Yeah, 5th base as well. So Claire making sure that every single advantage she gets, she's doubling down, making the advantage go even further. And we even see a Valkyrie Flamewalker going to be burning everything to a crisp. Now, Thresher numbers actually looking half decent for the Grell. Although Sabertooth, and there's a Terror tank for the Legion. Not a unit we've seen all that much of in the tournament, but we see it here now that we are entering the late stages of this match. And there's 2 Terror tanks. Holy moly. I guess that's where all the economy is going into for Claire. And this is now looking a bit too much, you feel. Those Terror tanks going to keep getting better and better, especially with the turrets upgraded and Valkyrie Flamewalker burning everything to a crisp. There it is! GG gets called. Claire gets game number 2. But it is a best of 5, so still one more game is needed by Claire. Can there be a comeback, Birds? Can there be a comeback?
They're obviously, there's always a chance. I think Bosse is a really good player. I think he may need to switch up his strategy a little bit and maybe take her by surprise in this next game. And then even if he falls back to the strategy the game after that, she might be a little off balance. So I hope we see something a little different out of him and see if he can do it.
All right, welcome back to game number 3, ladies and gents. Claire sporting in the northwest corner of the map, playing in green as the Legion.
And in the bottom right corner, we have Bosse in purple, playing as the Protectorate this time. He's been Grell the last 2 games, so this is a nice switch up from him.
Yeah, definitely a nice switch up. Also needs a switch up in the way the games have been going, right? So because we need Bosse to be able to actually get a win under his belt and make his way to try and get a bit of a foothold in the series, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't seen any split series yet. It's been 3-0 and 2-0 so far, so hopefully Bosse can win this one and make a series out of it.
Yeah, a bit of a battle of the duos here. We've got Krieger on the Pat, and then we've got Torque and Mondar for the Legion. I'm kind of curious because we saw quite a lot of aggression from both players, but actually on this map today in the Northwest, in Claire, is actually going to get a second base expansion nice and early.
Yeah, I think that was an expo first before anything else. Her conduit just finished her first supply structure. And just in time, too. Krieger is entirely out of energy, so we'll see if he goes back there to regen that energy.
Yeah,
Claire also is invested in a scout down here in the corner, so she can really watch what Bosse is doing. She was watching for that 3rd base expansion. She sees it now, so she knows with all likelihood that Bosse has taken a greedy 3rd base.
Yeah, interesting to see that unit actually, because we haven't seen it all that often, but scouting is king in RTS games, right? And Zerospace is no different, so just getting that information is going to be crucial. Just knowing when and where the expansions are coming, although Torque just about gets out of there.
Yeah, if he's able to keep surviving, that was a nice save on Torque. But he is losing tower control for it. I wonder if he goes... Yeah, he's going to sneak back and try to backcap this tower without competition.
Yeah, so this
More
is
units.
interesting. 3 bases and into double barracks. Question is, does Bosse go for commandos, or does he try and get Titans? Does he try and tech up? I mean, would it be just too greedy to do that?
I think he's probably going to start with a bunch of commandos, or maybe bastions, which are strong anti-light units against a lot of what the Legion has. But of course, we're going Exalteds again, so I think commandos is probably the choice.
Yeah. Now, the ensnare ability from the Exalters, they only affect 1 unit, right? Is it like an area?
Yeah, it's just a 1 unit. You've got to click the ability and click the unit individually, which is easy to do once, but hard to do 10 times at the same moment, like Claire does. So it's good. It lasts a decently long time. It is very powerful crowd control. Probably the most powerful crowd control in the whole game right now.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, I guess it makes a lot of sense to go for commandos, right? You've got kind of the cheap and cheerful units, but also low HP people. So actually, if you're forcing your enemy, the Exalters, to actually utilize their ability on, say, a single commando, stunning a Titan, for example, is a much bigger deal. So maybe this is the way. Maybe best commandos could be a way to deal with this, with the ranged attack, kind of somewhat counteracts the ability being used, or at least makes it less effective, as to say, against a big Titan. I wonder if that's something that could actually work in Bosse's favor.
Yeah, I think so. And I think you can also see Bosse's probably going for more light, lower hit point units by his talent choice. He went for the improved veterancy. If he was really caring about saving those big units, he probably would have gone for improved recall. So when you're massing commandos, that's usually the talent to take. And I think he's signaling that that's his plan right now.
Yeah, we'll see how this pans out. I guess it seems the same plan here for Claire. Has expanded to the third base. There's just a lot of Exalteds on the map. Although, yeah, I mean, I thought for a second there that we saw a Thrall, but alas, it wasn't. And it's just going to keep pushing on down in the south. Now, what's kind of cool to see, actually, the Exalteds can go down the ramps, or the hills, rather. They can jump down, right? But can they jump up? Can they go the other way?
No, they can't. They can only jump down. So you have to be very careful when you're microing them near the edge of a cliff that you don't have some jump down and then get stuck there with the enemy army, if the enemy's right below the cliff and you're right above it. So the micro needs to be on point all around for the Exalteds, really.
Okay, now we did talk about Titans, and yeah, actually Bosse has gone for a couple. Of course, the Commandos, they're useful for their time, but it is now the time for Titans for Bosse. Moving up north. I wonder if Bosse can manage to get out on the map a bit better this time, because it was a bit tricky in the last two. Wasn't able to break out, mostly in part because of Claire's micro and movability of the army. Because these Exalteds, despite being melee units, they're actually very, very mobile.
Yes, they are. They're fast. They're one of the fastest Legion units, and you can see they move around in a tight, fast-moving ball of rhinoceros goodness, and they're gonna charge you and destroy you. So you got to be real careful about them. Fortunately, the Commandos and Titans can jump if the Titan upgrade has happened. So if the Rhinos are getting too close, you can jump them away. Oh my gosh!
Oh, the nuke!
The trap and nuke.
Okay, this is Claire in a nutshell. This is what she does so great.
Beast. Yep, the nuke is still doing a little fallout damage.
Yeah, I mean, this is a situation where sometimes one bad fight just really turns things, right? And Claire just does that so well. The Valkyrie Beast does go down, so there is some, defensive capabilities here. Bosse should be able to hold it in the end, but oh wait,
jump! Oh no! Bosse might have looked somewhere else for a second.
Ooh, this is disastrous for him. I mean, it's not all over just yet, but this is what Claire does, right? She hits, runs away, and then comes back at you again. And she's moving the army again to the north. Just constantly hitting and running. It's incredible to see.
Yeah, I don't think she'll ever recross. We can see if this is actually true. I bet she doesn't ever recross the median line back toward her bases unless Bosse manages to really put pressure on them. I think she'll just stay on his side of the map the whole rest of the game, jockeying for position for as long as she needs to and poking in.
Yeah, now the heroes are spawning once again, so Inquisitress is popping forward, especially with the Sabertooth. And the crazy thing as well is with every Exalted that goes down, that Sabertooth just gets more and more powerful. She's got all three control towers, and she could look to try and attack, or she maybe expand her economy. It feels like she's really got the ascendancy in deciding what to do. Now, Bosse does have some of these supply depots that are going up. Could maybe get some turrets on them. It's gone for the sensor one here on the top, just get extra vision. Double barracks taking the fight, but it feels like again Claire's just got way too many numbers.
Yeah, I think that's true, especially while these buildings are building. I don't know if he got cancels on those or not. He was trying to protect that high yield flux there, but Claire's not allowing it.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation for Bosse because wanted to build those production buildings forward to get a bit of a bit of defense and staging ground to build up from, but then it is in a very exposed position, right? And speaking about exposed positions, this is certainly one of them. The second base goes down, and there it is. GG gets called. It will be Claire booking her seat into the next stage of the tournament. Welcome back everyone to a casted game for Zerospace, and today sporting the northeast corner of the map playing in teal. It's Arrival of the Birds playing as the Grell.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, also playing as the Grell, we have Bosse in the purple.
And we're on to Nebris. Welcome everyone. We've got Torque and Mondar moving forward. Prefect Asta getting to the fight as well. And getting rid of these camp critters. That's a mouthful to say, but I managed to get it out there. Now looking to get the control towers. We'll get the valuable XP to get the talents. Prefect Asta actually going to try, or maybe not. Just going for a bit of a chase. Is that chase worthwhile? Not got the tower. Decided to chase after Torque and Mondar. It's a brave fella, that Prefect Asta.
He is. I wonder if he's trying to steal these creeper, if he thinks he can win the fight. I guess we'll find out in a second. Maybe a little bit of both. Chasing Torque and Mondar away. Dealing a lot of damage to Mondar while he does it.
Yeah,
Not bad.
We'll be able to
That
get
worked
out
out
of
for
that.
Bosse so far.
Bird's getting the second base expansion, and looks like Bosse is just holding off just for now. Now, guys watching on YouTube, if you're not aware, Soap is in the casting booth with me. I'm sure you guys are aware because we've been casting a bit now, actually, with lots of the tournaments hosted by Zerospace.gg. So if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you give a big thumbs up for Soap in the comment section below. I've been enjoying the cast with him, and hopefully sticks around for a lot longer in the future too. So pretty cool to have you here, Soap. I hope you've been enjoying the game so far.
Yeah, absolutely. The games have been great. It's always a ton of fun to cast here. Thank you for letting me join you in your channel for some fun Zerospace games.
We've got the
With that said,
Mechs.
hopefully.
Have a look
Yeah,
at that.
Hornmex again. Bosse is sticking to his guns. Hopefully we get a closer series this time. I think these two are very evenly matched. I really don't know how to predict who's going to win it. So hopefully we see some games go both ways in this series.
Yeah, and Torque and Mondar have been pulled over to the left side, so there is a bit of a window for Bosse to do some damage. Obviously a handful of units only, so it won't be extensive damage, but some damage nonetheless.
Yeah, those Hornmechs starting to be annoying.
Yeah, and I guess what we saw in the last series between Claire and Bosse was Claire's ability to take care of these Hornmechs, make sure they don't get into huge numbers. I wonder how the Grell with birds will be able to achieve the same sort of thing. Could it be Threshers as a way? Could it... Well, it looks like it's going to be the Valkyrie Shock Troopers for the mercenaries at this point. So the Hornmechs look to try and challenge that third base expansion.
Yeah, Torque is getting real low. Oh, Torque does go down. Mondar's going to get rage. Birds had to cancel that base. He didn't lose too much money for it, but he couldn't take that expansion. I think he tried to expand to the south now instead. I think that was sort of a cancel rebuild, yep.
Yeah, this aggression has actually been working pretty well for Bosse. He's done some damage and took out Torque, and yeah, a bit of aggression here is working out well for him. But was it worth the delayed expansion? That's the big question.
Yeah, it may come down to whether or not Birds gets this base up. If Bosse can pressure this base out of existence, I think it's definitely worth it. Oh, wow. The kill on Mondar. Torque will be back soon.
Yep.
Mondar's gone for now.
We're going to have to operate as a bit of a tag team because the jump and hit from Prefect Asta managed to snipe it. There's Torque, speaking of the guy. Prefect Asta, what is that trap? Oh, what a trap.
Oh,
And can't get
wow.
out of there.
The body block right
Nicely
on
done.
the cliff edge. That's beautiful. I don't know if Birds totally planned that or if he just kind of saw it as a happy accident, but that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was a great play there to do that. If it was intentional, we'll give him better. It was intentional. There's no need to...
Absolutely.
Of course, 100% intentional, and great usage of the cliffs, of course. Now, added in a couple of threshers, so lashes rather, sorry, as a ranged unit for the Grell. So maybe that could be a way. Premium ranged units in the form of the Randy Horned mech, and then lashes added into the mix.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bosse also is already level 2. He's got all 3 towers, so Birds... I know it's bothering him. He's got to get on the map and compete for some of this. I think in the south, Bosse has some of the rich flux also. It's kind of hard to tell with the purple and purple, but yeah, there he is. He's got 2 harvesters on there, so his flux income is much better than Birds. Almost triple.
Yeah, they're definitely playing for the towers now. It feels like Bosse's got the momentum early on, does some damage to the Valkyrie Shock Trooper. Manages to get out of there in the end here, Birds. Prefect Asta charges on through, tries to get some damage in and Torque and Mondar backing away. But yeah, you just definitely get the feel that Bosse is starting to move further forward and get some momentum.
Yeah, a couple of those Hornmech shots going through everything here, really painful. Lashers deal a ton of damage, but they have very low hit points, so you don't want to let them get hit with those Hornmech orbs. That was a nice dodge, but more Hornmechs come out.
Yeah, and you get the feeling now actually Bosse is
God.
being allowed to get to his game plan of these Horned mechs, and if you build up a large chunk of them, they're just going to land some of the hits, and that's all it takes, right? Some of the hits to land, and it's going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. Yeah, you don't even have to hit them all, right? You just a few hits that go through a few units, and suddenly the Horde mechs have paid for themselves. Bosse also being real aggressive here with his static defense in the middle of the map.
Yeah, it's a really interesting unit actually in terms of how it plays out on the map, right? It's very much like a zoning unit. It means you can't really, I mean, unless you know you're going to win a fight against them, you definitely do not want to take a fight against them, right? Because you cannot afford to be hit by those orbs.
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of, if you don't have a unit that's really fast to kind of run around and dodge the orbs, then it may be worthwhile to just run around the map. And I think that is what Birds is going to do, as he loves to do. He's going to run around the outside and see what damage he can get done over here.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be lasher on lasher action. And we were mentioning, by the way, before the game actually started, we were talking about readability, especially with Grell versus Grell. And actually, I've got to say, I'm really enjoying this. It's very visible to see whose units are whose. So, I mean, amazing work by the devs to actually do that, because it could be easy, especially when you're working on grass like this. You know, mirror matches in terms of factions can be difficult to tell whose is whose, but actually, it looks very, very visible to see whose is whose.
Well, I'm really glad it's getting so much better. I know we didn't have the team colors in showing very clearly, but now we do, and I agree. I look at the game a lot, but it's nice to see that it's a lot more clear.
Yeah, Bird's bringing his units back home, looking to recuperate, and I need another word with R. We say regrow. But I guess the main question now is, where does Bosse attack here? Because everything's very centralized. That's a lot of cultivators. I mean, this is a position where actually, clearly Birds does not want to lose.
Yeah, that's true, but Bosse is up close to his main now. If Birds isn't reacting to this quickly, he could lose his main base up there in the north.
Yeah, a couple of lashes going down,
around that.
Trying to get a bit of a counterattack, but the question is, oh, is that recall coming up? Bosse doesn't want to attack.
Bosse wants to defend instead. He does have that counterattack from Birds. Both players having the same idea, opposite ends of the map. Birds does get that base. Can he run away with these lashers? If these lashers survive, I think that might have been what he needed to get back in this game. Yeah. He also needs to take some towers before Bosse gets that level 4 talent.
I guess Bosse felt like he was in a position where actually he doesn't have to commit to a base swap in some ways, and so he's got more to lose. Valkyrie Beast does get called down. The Lashers just moving down south and away on the west side. Torquemunda going a bit crazy, but these Arandi Horn mechs should push that away.
Yeah, Bosse is ready for the Bird special of splitting your army apart on both ends of the map. I think Bosse might just have enough to defend both sides, and I think he split it very wisely. Like, it's really hard to tell how much to split on both sides, but Bosse's putting on a clinic on how to do it.
Yeah, it feels like if you're going up against Birds, there's going to come a position in the map on the match where it's like an acid test, right? It's like, can you deal with splitting armies? Because if you can't, then Birds is going to punish you for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And talking about splitting armies, it's going to be moving down the west side as well. I guess on a map like this as well, with the towers being so far apart, splitting armies is all the more important. As you can see now, Arrival of the Birds trying to get the control tower in the northwest, was making a play for the southeast, but Bosse, he's on it and he's going to take down that Valkyrie Beast. Interesting down the middle. This is actually neutral. How did that happen?
I do not know. I'm questioning if we're having a graphical glitch. No, it is neutral. That's funny.
Yeah, that's unusual, right? Maybe if you get like a... maybe if you put buildings there, do the buildings affect the towers and they can decap them but can't actively capture them, maybe?
I don't think so, but I do think what happened is somebody maybe decapped it and neutralized it, and then left right as it became neutral. I'm not sure. That's funny.
Perfect timing.
Either that or it is just, yeah, I think it might have just been a graphical glitch. I think it was actually Birds' tower that whole time, based on seeing Bosse neutralize it now. Game's still in development, so, you know, we have some of that for sure.
Interesting enough, we were talking about how Burrs definitely didn't want to lose this position, but Boss has done the same thing for the middle control tower, and this is interesting, right? Because you've got the cultivator attackers that can essentially, well, the static defenses, right? And so he wants to keep control of that tower for a long time. Down in the south, though, Lashers coming on in. It's a run by Birds. He just does this so often, right?
I don't think he's going to stop here. I think he might go for the main, or maybe he will. Maybe he will stop here. He's a little... Oh, okay. Indecisiveness. Oh no, I hope that doesn't come back to bite him.
Yeah. Oh, recall coming up for Bosse. He doesn't want to lose his primary, and this is understandable. The question is, can Birds do enough damage before he loses his army? If he does,
he did it.
He took it out. That's huge.
That is really big. That main base has more extractors on it than the others. You can see those 6 flowers there. So you can see right now, Birds at almost double Bosse's Hexite economy.
Yeah, and he just, Birds, he just didn't give up, right? Sure, Bosse was keeping up with the split army, but as soon as he saw an opening, Birds went for it, and boy, did he make it count.
Yeah, this is sort of Battle of the Mercs, though, and it may not look like much, but Bosse's chasing down these shock troopers. So it's sort of Horn Mechs versus shock troopers. Both are AoE tier 2 mercenaries, or tier 1.5 mercenaries. And now the Horn Mech number is very big, and the shock troop number just dwindled a lot. So in a direct fight like this, the Time Warper there, you see that little purple field is slowing everything Birds has. Birds does not want to fight under that field.
Oh yeah, that Valkyrie shock trooper didn't get the memo, went on the other side, I think managed to... Oh, I thought for a second would get out of there alive. Probably will still, actually. Or maybe not. No, it does go down in the end. This is a huge fight, though. Those are Randy Horn Mechs. Don't have much of a meat shield in front of them, so he's got to be careful. He does back away with them. There's a lot of them, right? We were explaining how you want to have a large mass of them, and it feels like he's getting that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that one Thresher in the back, only 1 or 2 Threshers is all you need if you can just kind of hold your line and let it siege. He's not content to do that, though. He's pushing forward anyway.
Yeah, down the back. Looks like he's trying to get... Oh, he's going to go for the Thresher. Nice snipe there by Birds. Coming around from the back with his units, and he sniped them. And those were premium units that went down there.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a good snipe. Kind of ended this push for now, I think.
Speaking of premium units, we've got a couple of Reavers added into the mix for Birds. Meat shield units. As Mondar is trying to make a mad dash out of there. Probably will get out of there in the end. But running into a handful of cultivators.
Yeah, with the... Oh, and it looks like we have a Behemoth, that flying unit. It's very long range, good siege. Attacks pretty slowly. And does extra damage against heavy. And every several attacks, has a little AoE. It does really good against buildings.
Yeah, really interesting unit. We've not seen it for a while. It's going to be infused as well. Double infused, it looks like.
It is a big unit, and it is sort of signifying that we're into the end game stages, seeing those and seeing Reavers here in this Grell v Grell.
That was a double infuse, right?
It fills up with its... it gains wings when it fills up its attack-based energy, which is that orange bar.
Okay.
That's empty right now. The first time it fills it up, it gains its wings, and then after that, it casts its ability. So that's sort of what looks like the first infuse, and then the second infuse is just the actual infusion. Double infuse itself is gone. It only exists in co-op right now. It existed in multiplayer for a very short time.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first. If you want to have some crazy infusions, double infuse, you've got to play the co-op version of the game. Oh, the Randy Horn Mechs. That's a lot of those orbs. Although, yeah. I thought it'd be doing
I'm waiting to see if this Reaver charges. Is he going to... There it is. There's the Reaver charge to get to the other side of those Horn Mechs, killing one.
Yeah, it's a lot of lashes that are coming in from the south. Something's happened on the northwest. There's a bit of a run by. There's nothing to run through, and unfortunately those lashes can have some downtime there. We need to get into this fight most likely, because this is a big force. Coming up for Bosse. So let's go some of those Time Warpers.
Yeah, Time Warper slowing everything Birds would have there down, and basically just forcing Birds to back up. Birds does have the run-by group, but it's kind of just sitting there. The danger of splitting your army is always that the enemy runs through everything with their army.
Yeah.
I think Birds just recalled it. Is he coming in with the rest of his forces? Is he figuring out if he wants to, maybe?
Yeah, Bosse
with level 5.
He's got flowers.
All those white health bars are hallucinations of units, but to Birds they look like real units, so it's really hard to tell exactly how much you're fighting and win that fight.
Yeah, with triple Behemoth, one was just not enough. A couple of Skrellings coming out. Now, how good are those Skrellings at taking down the Behemoth? Are they any good?
They are quite good if they can get to them, but with the lashers underneath them, it's tough. Behemoth can't attack air, and the Skrellings will take him out quickly. You see him trying to get around the back there. If he can do it and not get hit by the lashers, the Behemoth should go down pretty quick, but the lashers are on top of it. Bosse's not going to let that happen easily.
Yeah, well, we were talking about the Randy Horn Mechs and getting a mass of them, but apparently Bosse's unit of choice today will be these Behemoths, although Birds has got 3 of his own, actually. 4 of his own. Holy moly. They kind of came out of nowhere. It's a Behemoth bonanza.
Yeah, and he has the Skrellings. In theory, if Birds could actually survive, he would have the better end-game army, I think. However, it's really hard to get from this point to that point when you're down this much supply.
Yeah, a bit of a meat grinder, but you got to say Bosse's economy is just so much more stronger, right? He's got full control of the central control tower as well. And now all he needs to do is move. Well, he's going to be moving northwest, making sure. I love this pivot actually towards the west side of the map because that's actually where birds could potentially expand. So that's where he's going to put the pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only so many bases. There's only so many places birds can go.
Yeah.
Bosse knows he cut off the south. He just needs to cut off the west.
Valkyrie boost, trying to get out of there. No, decides to sacrifice himself for the greater good. There's a lot of Skrellings, a lot of behemoths there for birds. That seems to be the mainstay of his defense, but he's down to 3 bases essentially, right? And that's all he's got to play with because Bosse has got a lot of the rest of the map. So birds is going to try and find a way back into that if he can. Well, the Skrellings will take down one of these behemoths in the end. Nicely done. But he needs to take sort of small winnable fights, I guess, and chip his way back into it.
Yeah, if at all possible, or get another run by and snipe a base or 2 again. Same kind of thing he's been doing if he can pull it off. If Bosse commits to some of these fights too much and gets whittled down while killing bases, that would be big. But that base went down so fast, it barely took any time away.
Yeah, and this is such a big force. He's playing it very patiently, Bosse. Now, he's that population supplier, right? So everything else that he gathers in terms of resources, he can't technically spend right now. So we might start to see a big death push pushing on forward soon.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some, I see some seedlings coming up now. We're going to see more and more static defense and nourishing pods too, which heal his units on that front line.
Yeah, I've got a couple
He's
of
got
threshers.
a couple of threshers, yeah. This is a very endgame Grell army. It's almost a box art army, you know, one of everything.
Yeah, it's got lashes.
He's got some Skrellings of his own too.
And these lashes are these have been proving a really nice unit, very mobile, but also taking care of the Skrellings. So something that's going to be tricky to deal with, right? Just as you say, really mixed army composition for Bosse. I mean, where do you go for birds, right? For this, you can't just go one unit. You're going to have to find a way to try and get something that counters it as an army force.
Yeah, I think Birds' economy is just mostly toast. His bases that he does have are mining out at this point, and he's only got a few of them.
Yeah, Skrellings on the back. The lashes are keeping an eye on them. Here comes the flowers once again, and there it is. GG gets called. Birds taps out. It will be Bosse taking game number 1, but of course, it is a best of 5, so plenty more potentially games coming your way. If you're watching on YouTube, stick around. We'll be getting a game number 2 right up. All right, welcome back everyone to game number 2 for the Zerospace Sting tournament. We've got Sporting in the Northwest in purple. It's Bosse playing as the Grell.
And in the southeast corner here, we have playing as the Legion, Arrival of the Birds in the teal.
Welcome everyone to Ascension. We've got Prefect Asta, pretty low on health now because of the initial damage, although going to be fighting off and taking down Sabretooth, the pet for Krieger. Krieger, maybe looking to get some revenge. Prefect Asta does need to hightail it out of there. Now, oh, maybe not. Wait, he's looking for some more. Bosse not happy to give up that position just yet. Krieger doesn't quite land with the hit. Going for the creep camp critters. And does step. Wait a minute. Prefect Asta coming with the jump and the stun. And I think Krieger might go down, although running out of there. Oh, that was very smart. Went around the terrain and managed to not get hit and hightail it out of there. Now, on a map like Ascension, you've got 3 towers. A nice early expansion for birds. I'm kind of curious to see because we've seen the Grell versus Legion time and time again, and we've seen a proxy base from the Grell recently. Do the Legion ever have a potential to do a proxy base themselves? Is it ever a thing for them?
Yeah, I mean, you can absolutely do a proxy base for the Legion. They actually have buildable obelisks now. That used to be their top bar ability, which anyone who's played or seen some of the older casts knows. But now you can build those on the map once you have a barracks down. So you can potentially build a forward base or build some obelisks around where your enemy's trying to expand to or move to. A lot of times you'll see players build those over the high yield flux if the game gets on to the mid and end game phases to kind of protect that. But you can use that to directly assault an enemy base. They do take a while to build, but they're very powerful when they're done.
Yeah, definitely nice actually thing to have now that you can build them up, kind of, I guess, similar to the other factions, because it was previously a top bar ability, correct? So now that the fact you can build them up is kind of in line, I guess, with the other factions too.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a top bar ability, and it was temporary, and they often felt to the player using them that, like, hey, why doesn't my top bar ability last longer, and take a couple of seconds to drop down. And to the enemies, if you get hemmed into your base with those top bar ability obelisks, it felt kind of rough. So we've been experimenting with different things. Not sure if we're on the final one right now either, but the current one is, I think, pretty fun, where you get that extra huge move and attack speed bonus for a while and then stunned.
Yeah, looks like it's a bit of a macro game for both players, looking to expand to 3 bases. Prefect has to just about manage to get out of there. And we do, of course, have the Arandi Mothership for Bosse. We've been seeing a lot of these horned mechs. Maybe we'll see some more.
Yeah, and Rhaegar takes out an extractor there. So that's a nice slowdown on Bosse's income. I do think that Birds is sort of just taking a page out of Claire's book and doing the Exalted thing. Probably going to have Ensnare pretty soon. And try to take the towers, some high yield flux, and stay on Bosse's side of the map. But let's see if he can do it as well as Claire can.
Yeah, and I'm speaking of for your high yield flux. It's pretty much more or less in the middle of the map. So certainly encouraging the players to play directly into the middle. And I guess, I mean, with 3 control towers with Birds now, it's definitely got a lot of map control. I wonder if we mentioned about obelisks and towers, but they might look to try and solidify his positions on these towers right in the middle. We shall see, because early days, of course, you probably want to spend your resources on units this sort of stage. They're more mobile, of course, moving around. The static defenses might come in a little bit later. Looks like the hero actually went down for the Legion, so gonna have to regroup and wait for that one to respawn. Yeah, although, you know, we talked about map control. Bosse is starting to move out a little bit now with a couple of these lashes. Going to the right control tower first, infusing. But yeah, a bit standoffish. As of course, we see both players going for 3 bases, so you kind of expect there to be a bit of, you know, a little less action. But it's almost usually the calm before the storm.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a huge stun. Oh, this is too. Look, he's got the Ensnare on the hero, and the hero goes down.
Yeah, this Ensnare from these Exalteds are looking so good, right? It's very impactful, and it feels like one of these abilities, if you can land it really well, it just does so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game changer if you can get it on the right unit at the right time. And but Bosse held it pretty well. He managed to hold that position. If you have to start running and you get ensnared, it's so much worse. He's also trying to push forward with his own cultivators and his own nourishing pods to try to establish that middle of the map presence, but Birds is not letting it happen. I'm waiting to see if it's Horn Mechs or Rondi Shades or what coming from the mothership.
Yep, time will tell. He's actually going to be picking off one of the harvesters, so Flux is going to be hit a little bit for Bosse. Now, those harvesters do respawn, I believe, but of course, Birds gets a bit of resources for taking it out too, correct?
Yeah, he does. He gets 50 flux for that. It's a nice swing and flux to stop your enemy from mining some and get that bounty yourself. It's also definitely makes harvesters worthwhile to kill, even if you lose a unit or two for it. Birds did have the unfortunate thing that happens to me all the time, where his I don't think he wanted his Exalted to hop off that cliff, but they hopped off, and he lost a couple of them for free.
Speaking about losing things, Prefect Asta loses his life. That looks like, yeah, they're both going to be, well, actually, the Grell are going to be moving with a couple of cultivators, and that will be potentially their static defense if they are upgraded.
For sure. Arrival of Birds up to talent level 3. He can start using that top bar ability and then healing units up as it ends. I'd love to see him make use of that.
Yep, stuns come out again for the Exalted. It's a bit of a trade-off. I think Lashes actually feels confident taking the fight boss. He's got a couple of these Arandi Horn mechs, so potentially good zoning off units, because you do not want to get hit by those orbs if you can. But they do have these Exalted. They've got good movement speed, so managing to get out of there. Oh, Krieger coming in with a stun, and the nuke does a significant amount of damage.
He does, and I think he still needs to leave, though. I think he got the nuke, time to back up. If they chase you, you can nuke again when they follow. But otherwise, in between those nuke times at this stage of the game, when the Lashers are masked, you have to be extra cautious.
Yeah, and this push by Bosse, or this at least hold in this position, means now he's getting some nourishing pods. And it's going to be able to get more cultivators.
Yeah, if Birds can hold at least one tower, I think he'll hit level 4 first, and that'll be a big moment.
And the big deal about this is, of course, we know that the high yield flux is in the middle, so definitely a really good position to hold if you can. Oh, massive nuke.
Nice nuke.
Yeah, it was huge. Lashes pushing forward.
Yeah, just like that, Birds is back up in supply. These Lashers are low. Shock Troopers are pretty deadly against low health Lashers.
Yeah, certainly. It's one thing having unit numbers, but they're quite low on health, so the fireball, will it hit? It does just about gets out of
Oh
it with the
my
lashes.
gosh, they're the same speed as the fireball.
Yeah.
If he got fast fireball, ironically, would have killed a lot.
Yeah. Oh, another nuke, and he's going to be backing off with Inquisitress. Inquisitress might go down, does go down, and... Oh, hang on about. We've got the Arandi Oathguard. Now, that's not a unit I've seen all that much. It looks pretty nifty. I wonder what it does. Is it a ranged unit? It looks like a ranged unit.
Yeah, that's one of the top bar abilities from the Arandi mothership itself. So every mercenary brings its own top bar option now. The Valkaru Beast we've been seeing all day is the Valkarus. And in this case, the Oathguard, there's two options from the Arandi one. One of them attacks your enemies, and another one heals your friendly units. And we've seen Bosse using the healing ones especially, which I think is what he had out right there too. So it kind of keeps you in a position for longer, keeps some of those valuable horn mechs alive, things like that.
Yep. Both very similar in supply. The question is, what about the quality of the units? Quite a lot of lashes running around. But the main thing is actually got control of the middle, right? And it feels like if Bosse can keep control of this, maybe those harvesters will venture out into the high yield flux.
Yeah, that's a big deal if he can get that high yield flux, and if he can keep that high yield flux from arrival of the birds.
Nuke gets deployed. Lashes not hit too badly by that. There's another expansion down in the southwest. 4 of them now for arrival of the birds. So he's looking to macro behind this. I guess if he has to concede the middle location, he should at least get better economy. He's going to slow down a couple of these lashes and try and charge them down.
Yeah, this is a really interesting fight. It looked like Bosse was going to surround birds, but birds kind of took one side and then is now taking the other side of the fight, killing so many lashers. I think he's getting a big advantage in this game right now.
Yeah, those lasher numbers are really starting to dwindle, right? And it feels like maybe Bosse just... he had good control of the middle, maybe just overbit a little bit, but he is now starting to get that high yield flux, but probably not for too long.
Oh, bird's going right for a base here. I think he's going to get it. Oh, Bosse might just respawn going for Bird's own base over on the east.
Yeah, good play by Bosse there. Not just to get hung up by the fact that he's going to lose a base, he's going to get some damage of his own. He knows his enemy's army's on the left side, although, to be fair with Birds, you never quite know because he does always split up his armies. But yeah, Bosse does get the pick off there.
Looks like Birds came home. I think he's confident he can beat this army, especially if he can land a nuke. And there's the nuke. Not bad. Not the best nuke, but not the worst.
Yep, gets the Valkyrie Beast.
Got a couple of those horn mechs too. That's big.
Galavax with the fireball doesn't quite land on anything. Bosse gets out of there. Oh, the Iranian mothership didn't get the memo.
It did not. I wonder if it was abducting something. I didn't see any light units under it that could be abducted, so I don't think so.
Yeah, I think a big moment though is the fact that Bosse still has control over the middle, despite having.
Bosse's supply has been going up quickly too. He's really massing.
Yeah, he has been pumping. Now, we do have that 4th talent for Arrival of the Bird, so his units are going to be a little bit better in terms of at least getting a bit of extra armor and a bit of extra HP. We do see Threshers now on the back line for Bosse, so we talk about, you know, big moments for the Horned Mechs to be able to get, sorry, the Exalted to get some stunning and then the nukes from Krieger, but maybe these Threshers could get some big moments themselves with some big siege damage. Speaking about big moments.
That would be great. I think Birds might have distracted himself a little bit while splitting his army because he had the left side of his army run into the Thresher and not kill it. I think that might have been a small missed opportunity while he was focusing up here in the north while he's taking out that base.
Yeah, unfortunately, speaking of Threshers, Bosse will lose one. Kind of didn't get the memo, got stuck, and Krieger gets the nuke.
You can see the attention tax. Like, both players are trying to focus on 2 or 3 places at once, and it's just a little too much to handle.
Yeah, splitting up the fights up in the north.
It doesn't look like he took out that base up north. I was sure he was going to get it. And Legion hits level 5.
Monolith comes out. Reaver just runs on in, but one of them has been infused, so that's a big chunker one. As a nuke, this is going to be an absolutely huge fight. Nukes going out, Galavax with the fireball, and it does look like Arrival of the Birds has a large number of units. I mean, if you can take down these Reavers, this will be huge, because this is a massive front line for the Grell. If they lose that, there's not going to be too much standing in the way of these huge mammoths to then take out these Arandi Horn mechs. And Shaw's got maybe a Thresher or 2 on the back, but they may be taken down pretty quickly soon after.
This is one of the closest fights I've ever seen because both of them are going down in supply at the same rate. They've been tied in supply almost the whole time. they both have pros and cons going for and against them. Reavers versus Mammoths is not a fight you usually see. That's exciting. I think Birds is back up in supply very quickly. But with some of these units being the infused ones that survived for Bosse, it doesn't mean he's really down.
Yeah,
Still ahead in towers, still ahead in bases. Birds kind of has a timer on what he can do. He needs to do something.
Yeah, I think the great thing about the Randy Mothership, especially like committing to the Horned mechs, is actually, you know, when you're going up against a player towards their main base, you're often facing yourself up against defender's advantage, right? But the Randy Mothership allows you to deploy those units on the field, close to the fight, and so it works really well to reinforce. Although, speaking of reinforcing, Bosse is starting to reinforce the fight down in the southwest, and is going to take that base and probably head back because he needs to reinforce his main army before it gets overrun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have Bosse a little supply blocked by this. Both players actually at 118 out of 120. But Birds isn't going to be able to keep rebuilding his army like this if he keeps losing his bases and not sniping some in return.
Yeah, great
That
fireball
Thresher's
attack.
not burrowed.
Great fireball attack. Threshers are still around. They're still doing some damage. The Mammoths are pretty low on health though, so they might be taken down if they're not recalled. I think they will go down actually. It should be a good fight here for Bosse. He should at least clean this up.
Yeah, that one Mammoth with the Dark Disciple on its back does... Oh, this one too. They do area of effect damage when they hit, so if they can get in the middle of a lot of lashers, they're great, but they're pretty slow.
Yeah, and the economy's starting to skyrocket for Bosse. He's actually expanded to a 5th base, and he's been doing some damage, so you know he's been the master of the run buys on this particular game, so Birds has got to find a way to deal with that. He does have one of these beefy looking dreadnoughts.
Yeah, the Dreadnought can upgrade 4 different turret pods. You can kind of see them in there outlined in teal, little hexagons. And those can do things like drop bombs, be a great anti-air turret, be a good anti-ground, anti-heavy kind of a situation, or let it blink to a location. But with that said, they're not great against lashers, so he'll have to be very careful where he uses it.
Yeah, I love this movement down by Bosse down the right side. We've seen Birds do this throughout the tournament, and Bosse is doing it himself now. Looking just to keep Birds at home. And, well, where's the Rich Flux gone off to? It's a bit further back. There's one batch here and one batch here. So, thankfully, the respawning of the Rich Flux has actually helped Birds a little bit. It's put it a bit closer to home. So, it's been able to get the Flux that way. There's a lot of Reavers down the right side. Monolith gets spawned up, and Reavers charging on through. Galavax with the fireball. Reaver going up the ramp, and Krieger with the nuke. Absolutely everything's happening with the Terror tank as well. The Mammoth's trying to hold on and be tanking for the rest of the units behind there for the Legion. But this is looking good here for Bosse. He's got a lot of these Reavers, got a lot of the Arandi Horned mechs, a lot of the Lashers too. Flowers comes up. Galavax with another fireball. But it feels like Bosse's starting to gain momentum.
Yeah, I think the economic advantage is finally starting to pay off, especially as Bosse's hit level 5 for this fight. They're even in level. Bosse's got the economy. He's got the army supply now, instead of it being dead even like it was for so long. I think if Birds gets some more of these Dark Disciples, maybe uses his top bar ability on them to give them some of that attack and move speed at the right moment and focuses the Reavers, maybe he can have a good fight here. Or maybe he can do a run by and snipe a base or two, but it's going to be tough from here on out.
Yeah, Birds has really
That's a
got
nice
to find a
nuke.
way back into the game. It feels like almost Bosse's taking a play out of Claire's book, playing it very slowly, patiently, take some good fights, and backing off, doubling down on the boost, and he's even expanded on the southwest to get his economy even further forward.
Yeah, it makes it even tougher for Birds to take that base again too. And at this point in the game, Bosse's not so worried about the 350 hexite that costs.
Yeah, absolutely. If just cutting him off, his enemy off from resources is another way to get him down.
All right, here's Birds trying for the run by. It's going to be hard to defend at home.
Those Legion workers got absolutely decimated by the Threshers. Poor
Yeah.
guys. Oh,
They,
big nuke though. Took a couple of those Lashers. He needs fights like this, Birds, if he can. Just little bits of wins here and there. It's really important for him to try and get. It does have these towers, as you mentioned. The Legion now can build them as static defenses. Maybe that's the way that he holds.
Yeah, he does have these obelisks. I think he went for... I can't tell if he went for fast fireball or if he just doesn't have the upgrade yet. He really needs the burning fireball against the Grell that wants to stay in one place to zone them out like Claire was doing.
Yeah, the big deal here is that those Reavers tanking so heavily, and sure, he's got a couple of Mammoths coming in as well, but it's going to need a bit more than that. Fireball comes out, and yeah, that hasn't been upgraded just yet. Thresher does get a bit of damage on the Mammoth. And on the north side, I mean, to be fair, Birds is getting some eco damage, but he's got to find a way to hold in this position. Nuke comes out, buys him some time. A Randy Horn mechs with the orbs, but not landing anything just yet. And as you said, they do have now, the Legion, some Dark Disciples. Maybe that's something you can use to hold on.
Yeah, if Bosse is going to go for more of these Reavers and these Threshers, the Dark Disciples are pretty good against them. Hopefully, that would be a fun way to see a comeback in this game.
Yeah, the big concern though, big shots.
The Zeros took so much damage from the Threshers.
Yeah, big concern now for Birds is that whilst he did just take a decent fight, just going now, it feels like it wasn't decent enough, right? Because he hasn't been able to expand on the southwest. And eventually, I mean, these bases mine out, right? So eventually he'll be lacking.
Yeah, pretty soon here. In fact, I think his main's definitely mined out. His expansion is probably just about mined out too. You still get a trickle of income after you're mined out, but he's at, just over a third of the income of Bosse. And even though he's still jockeying around here in the north west, I really like to see it. It's going to be really hard to hold and win. Bosse's just taking over the map one base at a time.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely getting some hold in, so it's definitely good for his morale, but it won't be enough. Morale won't be enough in this game, because it will be Bosse, and he's going to be tying up the set, if I'm not mistaken, or is that actually... Did he win the first game? Either way, he's won this one.
Yeah, Bosse's up 2-0 now. Yeah, it's we have not had a tied series or a comeback yet, but maybe we will starting now.
Definitely in the driver's seat, but Birds, we've seen him do it time before, and maybe there's a way back in the game. We've still got games under our belt. If he can get one on the board, could be on the way for a comeback. All right, welcome back everyone to game number 3 for this best of 5 series. Spawning in the northwest in purple is Bosse playing as the Grell.
And in the southeast, in the teal, it is a rival of the Birds, also playing as the Grell and hoping for a comeback in this series. He's down 0-2. If he loses this one, it's all over. But if he wins it, he can start an epic comeback.
Yeah, and Torquemada might have something to say about that. Moving over to the towers. Now, there are 4 towers, right? So, look at that Prefect Asta going straight for them. And we have seen Prefect Asta do pretty well against both Torquemada. And looks like Bosse looking to try and replicate that. And he's pushing Torquemada away.
Yep, this is the interesting situation where he managed to push them away, but I think they got the kill on every single creep, and all those little tower creep give you 5 Hexite each, which early game adds up pretty quick. He got like 40 Hexite off that tower, so he's able to build a little bit faster, even though he lost the tower.
Yeah, Seedling just going across the map there for Rival of the Birds. Knowledge is power, and he's going to get that scouting information, just spotting that it is just the one base now, for now at least, for Bosse.
I wonder if he's thinking about a proxy.
He's gone for one base back at home. So
he did go for an expansion back at home. That's true. He did also. I think Bosse had a seedling over at one of his bases, potentially just to prevent Birds from thinking about taking it.
Interesting. Yeah, both gone for the second base for now at least, and they're spreading themselves across the map. Prefect Asta down in the south, Torquemada down in the northeast. So
it's. I think up in the north. I think he made a mercenary compound. There it is. He's going to do some early Volcaru Hounds and just kill a bunch of extractors and be super annoying. He may lose that, but it might be worth it if he gets some damage done.
Yeah, interesting strategy. And just like to give a big shout out to Zerospace.gg, who's been supporting and, well, basically hosting, doing everything around the tournament. If you guys are watching on YouTube, there is www.zerospace.gg. It's definitely worth taking a look at if you're interested in Zerospace and learning more about the game. And big thank you for hopping in. I hope you guys have been enjoying the action. Speaking of action, Torquemada looking to get rid of this base expansion, although I suspect, I mean, yeah, with the Valkyrie Hounds now, you might get it unless, of course, there's the Lily for Bosse if he recuperates the, yeah, he does.
Yeah, deletes it, recuperates 75% of that cost. So still lost, 75 Hexite, but not a huge loss. Didn't get to expand when he wanted to, I guess, so his economy will be slower.
Yeah, speaking of economy, going for the extractors.
Yep, he's going to get 2. Is he going to go for 3? He's going to lose a lot of units for this. He did get a 3rd. Maybe he'll even get a 4th. Those hounds are pretty tanky. And
he gets it. I mean, it feels worth it, right? I mean, sure, he did lose a lot of units, but that's got to put a big dent into that economy for Bosse. Although Bosse will have Good few units left over. Question is, can he do a bit of counterattack or not?
Yeah, it's a pretty big map to make it all the way across, but then again, he already has a turret down there being annoying. And he might kill this. Yeah, he almost definitely will kill this proxied mercenary compound. I think it's hard to say. Bosse still has more towers. I think if Birds had the towers... Oh, I'm sorry, Birds does have the towers behind this. Maybe it's worth it. I think keeping that tower control while your opponent works on defense is worth a lot on this map.
Yeah, he will have to rebuild that mercenary outpost if he wants more Valkyrie units. He's going to get rid of that turret that's been deployed. That turret must have been a bit annoying. Just to give a bit of extra vision there for Bosse. But Bosse now, having taken that fight, and Valkyrie hounds having gone down for the arrival of the birds, Bosse's got all 3 control towers. Well, I say all 3, but 3 of the... Well, all of the towers that have been captured before. We've got this one in the southwest, not captured by either player just yet.
Yeah, it's odd. It looks like they cleared the creep, but maybe ran out of there before they could capture it. I imagine Bosse cleared it and then saw that Birds was in his base.
Yeah, a couple of lashes mixed in with a couple of stingers here for the grill on the west side from Birds, from Bosse rather. Torquemada just going to be supervising these lashes being infused. So making their way down south. Both players do have 3 bases, but of course, having lost a couple of extractors, Bosse's economy is just slightly weaker. Although, to be fair, he's getting some damage of his own now.
Yeah, absolutely. Birds is upgrading the tower on that base, so it'll be a defensive structure too. And even in the midst of that, he got a cultivator down, which can also be upgraded to defend itself. Yeah. So even while being attacked, he kind of made that into a defensible position.
Yeah, with both players going for 3 bases, it will be a bit more of a macro approach. Both players, in terms of flux, actually, it feels like rather the Birds have got a bit of an easier access on his side of things. But
yeah, and Birds has expanded toward the towers more quickly. By expanding a little further away from his main, he was able to spread grass on his side a little faster. So he has sort of these defensive structures that he's trying to put up, but Bosse's not going to let it happen.
Yeah, nice play there, Bosse, actually, because if he did leave that unattended, the static defenses would have been going up, and because obviously once those are up, it's a lot harder to take down than taking them out nice and early. So good move by those lashes.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he has the bigger army right now, but he positioned it really well right at that moment. And look at this, they both were almost cultivator against cultivator here.
Yeah.
They're both taking over the map. The whole map here is covered in biomass in this lane.
Now, this is an interesting one. So, biomass, do you get extra movement speed for the Grell on that, or is it just healing if you're around the nourishing pots?
It's just healing if you're on it, and I believe it reduces enemy vision very, very slightly.
Okay, now, the real question is, do you get extra heal? Do you get healing if you're on your enemy's grass?
I don't think so. But that's a great question that I wish I was 100% on.
Yeah, because grass is grass, We'll see.
It sure is. I mean, creep is creep for the most part in StarCraft 2, right? But
yeah. Well, either way, I'm grateful that none of these players picked green as their color, because a lot of green on the map is beautiful to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
And both players have been expanding with the grass heavily. A couple of Valkyrie shock troopers added into the mix here for Birds, looking to get the area effect damage, although for both players as it happens. Well, the ones on the side of Bosse
Birds has really got a nice spread to his forces. So he's not taking as much splash damage from those shock troopers, and I think that made the difference. He was up 20 supply a moment ago, right after that fight.
Yeah.
But that does mean, as he loses supply, that Bosse gets more of that top bar energy, so he's infused more units. So in the next fight, he may be able to come back, especially with these infused shock troopers.
Yeah. Speaking of about infused, well, Birds does have improved infusion, so those range units can be doing significantly more, have more range. Was it actually damage, actually? So it's extra range, actually, as it happens, yeah. So he will be able to outrange his enemy.
Yeah, Bosse had his Harvester come up to mine the high yield flux. I can't believe he kept it alive.
Yeah.
Surely it's got to die. It's at like 50 health. It's just raking in the high yield flux right in front of all Birds' stuff.
Yeah, and it's healing as well. But I mean, yeah, it gives Birds a decision to make, right? Does he go for the Harvester or go for the enemy units that can kill him? And looks like he's, he's actually pulling back. He doesn't want to take the fight against the cultivators, I guess.
There goes the Harvester.
There it goes. There's the Valkyrie
boost. Breaking my brain.
Coming down for Bosse, actually. Nice cooldown, actually. Really nice usage of that. Might be the difference maker.
When the fight's so close. The fight is so close, the Beast can turn it, but he's recalling. Oh, Birds! Birds has the run by in the north. Look at that. Quicker than me. It was just some Valkaru Hounds, not anything he can't push back, but if he didn't recall, he could. But now that he did recall, he lost the middle of the map and just declared GG. Wow.
GG. Birds comes back with a victory, and he will be making the set 2-1. So it's all to play for.
Yeah, Bosse GGing out a little earlier than I thought he would. I wasn't sure that he was defeated, but I guess he was. You know, he's a very high-level player, and I think he saw the writing on the wall pretty early that game and said, well, I'm behind the whole time. So that was all it took. Good job, Birds, making the series 2-1.
So we are back with game number 4, Sporting in the Southwest in orange? No, it's purple. It's Bosse playing as the Grell.
And opposite Bosse in the northeast corner, I have to think about my cardinal directions every time, in the brownish color, different color than he's been previous games, also playing as the Grell, we have a rival of the Birds.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking about orange colours, but I guess the map is pretty orange. Gives me vibes of Star Sand, but of course it's not Star Sand. It's Canyon. Now, it's a map that actually is very new, at least to my viewing, and I suspect you guys on YouTube haven't seen it before, but very interesting. 3 towers, and as Birds was... Where is that? As Soap, rather. Birds is playing. Soap was mentioning how the towers on the low ground and the bases, some of them were close, some a bit further away, a bit more prone to harm's way.
Yeah, absolutely. It is tough to hold that base in the northwest and the southeast for either player. They're kind of up for grabs. And those towers underneath them, if you can hold that base, you can easily defend that tower. So they're interesting strategic points. Some players try to get them early to hold that tower and that part of the map and be aggressive. But many times those bases are taken and killed late in the game.
Yeah, and Prefect Asta, Monta doing a bit of a dance, just trying to call the bluff of Prefect Asta. But going to be finding it difficult to make its way home. Yeah, I think Prefect Asta should get him down in there, although the movement speed, nicely done there by Birds, just to survive.
6 hit points.
Yeah.
That's as close as you can get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Meanwhile, though, his brother up there, Torg and Mondar being the brothers they are, took that tower. Already Horn Mechs out. These might be the fastest Horn Mechs we've seen.
Holy moly. 2 minutes 15 seconds, and he's already on the field with them. Now, he hasn't expanded, right? So he's gone straight for units. Although he has expanded.
It's just he is expanding now, yeah. But he went Mercs first, though. Yeah, his expansion is a bit later than Birds. I don't know if Birds knows this is coming. I don't think he's seen it yet. I think this is going to be a complete surprise. He knows now.
Yeah, I mean, this is... it looks like it's likely to go down because there aren't that many units. There is Torg and Mondar, I guess, but Prefect Asta's into the mix as well. And Torg and Mondar don't have great health on them. It's going to be risky. Torg gets out of there. Oh, doesn't quite manage it. It was a stinger in the end that I think took him down.
Sometimes a pawn captures the queen. He's trying to build defenses. He upgraded the base, so he actually invested 150 more Hexite into it. He really wants to hold this base.
Yeah, understandably so.
Looks like he will for now, but those Horn Mechs, especially if you give him something to shoot at in line with the base, that orb will keep on traveling.
Yeah, a couple of Harbingers. Only 2 though for now. He's got to be careful not to get hit by the Horn Mechs. He does get hit a little bit, but nothing massive. But he's got all 3 controlled towers now, Bosse, so the talents are coming in thick and fast. First of which will be Cultivator range.
Yeah, he'll be looking to spread that grass across the map yet again. Also pinging down cultivators here from the high ground. Canyon's interesting because there's a lot of high ground and low ground points, and those bases are on the low ground. And there's high ground that's definitely in Thresher range, even in Horn Mech range. So you've got to try to hold the high ground outside your natural as well. And right now, Bosse has Birds high ground.
Yeah, and with just so many cliffs and ramps, it might be pretty difficult to actually break out for Birds. He's managing to get on the left side on that tower with a single Harbinger. But maybe this is a good map for Bosse to try and pin his enemy down, and maybe that's the reason why he's gone for the early Horned Mechs. It feels like actually if you can mass these units up, it could be a really good zoning unit to try and make sure Birds just can't break out. The real question is, if there are any more expansions? A third expansion here for Bosse as well, so making the most of the map control, making the most of the fact that Birds has been struggling to get out. As I say that though, he's making a move for the west side. A couple of lashes will be spotting that for Bosse. They won't live for too much longer, unless they can run away, but Yeah, they actually managed to go down the ramp and get out of there. Stomp comes out from Prefect Asta. The Harbingers are showing no fear, though. They're going to still push on forward.
Yeah, the Harbingers are interesting. They have a lot higher hit points than Lashers, but their damage per second without their ability is not as high. So the Lashers, even though they look tiny, might be able to jump on top of them and kill them if they can dodge the ability.
Yeah, especially with the Horned Mechs behind them. The Harbingers won't want to stay still for too long, and they are starting to stay still, and the Horned Mechs are getting some damage. There's a very weak Harbingers, actually, as it happens, although he might pick off one Horned Mech. He does get one of them.
Yeah, both armies are down low in hit points, but that's it.
GG gets called.
Yeah,
Boss
Bird's lost everything.
Yeah, he will be making his way through to the next stage of the tournament. Welcome everyone to the grand finals of this Zerospace Sting tournament, hosted by Zerospace.gg. And spawning in the northwest corner of the map, playing in purple, we've got Boss A playing as the Grell.
And opposite, in the bottom right corner, which, let's see my cardinal directions here, in the southeast corner, in the light blue, we have Claire playing as the Legion.
Welcome everyone to Coastal Outpost. Now this is the grand finals after all, so both players incredibly gifted with Zerospace, and it will be a best of 7. Krieger smashing out those creep camp critters, looking to get one of 4 control towers, which means it's quite likely the talent tree will be escalating pretty quickly for these players. Krieger and the pet along the way, Sabretooth, and on Claire's side of things, it will be, on Boss's rather, it will be Prefect Asta.
Oh, do you see this? There's a proxy mercenary tavern from Boss A.
All right, we're gonna have to have a look.
Right there next to the tower, but Claire sees it. So it's, on the one hand, it's a cool idea. On the other hand, she was always going to see it. So Oh, the Sabretooth barely survives. I feel like we need to name the Sabretooth, by the way. We should have done this earlier.
Yeah. And the Temple of the Earth, which faction is that? Which mercenary faction is that?
That is the Chakru Kingdom. They have 2 mercenary taverns, actually, so you can break out tons of mercenaries since each one has their own mercenary cooldown. The Temple of the Earth has the humanoid mercenaries. So they have some healers there. They have some really fast ones, which are these warriors right here. And they have the Rageborn, which you may remember if you've been watching Zerospace for a long time. I know Farman knows them well. They run around and gather their every attack. They get attack-based energy, which is those orange energy bars you see throughout the game. And every 4 attacks, they slam the ground and damage and slow everything around them.
Yeah.
So he's that mercenary compound. I assume he made this in the middle, so these warriors can get to the other side of the map really fast. But they're not bad for defense either. Look at them chase down the Sabretooth.
Yeah, nicely done. Going to challenge this Garrison Tower expansion. Yeah, I certainly remember the Rageborn. They were all the rage back in the day. I wonder how they'll do if they do end up spawning today. There's a Chakru Clawjack. Clackjaw, that's really a bit of an issue for me tonight.
Yeah, the crabs.
Yeah, the crabs, we like to call them.
They're from the other mercenary compound. I wonder where that one is. He's built both already.
Ah, it's going to be a bit of a chase down on that.
Tough to find him because he likes to pick almost the same color as the Flux to blend in. There it is, it's in his main base. So the Clackjaws have a lot of armor. So they're really good against Stingers and Thralls and low damage per hit unit. Now, Exalteds are pretty high damage per hit unit, pretty slow attack speed, so the Clackjaws are not as good against them.
Yeah, interesting play by Boss Ape. Delaying that expansion has meant there's got more units in the form of course, the mercenary units, putting the pressure on Claire. Claire does have a second base expansion, so her economy will be, significantly better, especially as time goes and those extractors do start to build up. So Boss is going to be a bit careful, right? The question is, getting the delay on the expansion, has he been able to get much value from that? And Claire now breaking out with a lot of these Exalteds, deciding to back away and get some. One of the Chakra Crabs is down. Oh, massive shot by Krieger. This is a good engagement by Claire. Taking it out of the front line and takes down another crab. Oh, Boss A is losing a lot here. He might have to back away. Yeah, excellent fight by the Exalted. Cleared up everything, really.
Yeah, Claire doing a really nice job. Oh no, that's the game. That's it. It's all over.
GG gets called. It was a bad fight, but it is what it is. I mean, I guess we have to move swiftly on to game number 2 because I think Boss A is going to want to put that behind him very, very quickly.
Absolutely.
Right, so game number 2, spawning in the southwest in purple, is Boss A playing as the Grell.
And opposite, spawning in the northeast, in the green, playing as the Legion, is Claire.
Welcome everyone to Canyon. So after a very quick game number 1, I wonder what Bosse can do to change things around. Will Claire just stick with the tried and tested exalted push? We'll have to see. Prefect Asta getting a couple of shots off Saber Tooth. I forgot the last part of his name. But looking to get the creep camp critters. Challenge for that. There are 3 control towers on Canyon. And a lot of terrain actually as happens. A lot of elevations and dips. We'll see if the players are able to use that to their advantage.
Yeah, Oh, that was a nice move. Aster dodged the line shot and managed to kill the Sabertooth. I think we should call him Sammy. What do you think, Sammy the Sabertooth?
Yeah, let's do it. Sammy, it rolls off the tongue. Why not? It's a little bit easier than saying Sabertooth for sure. One more shot on the crypt. Okay, he just wants to get. Oh, he charges on through, stuns Krieger, and gets a good shot off. So Krieger.
And then while Krieger is stunned, he finishes off the creep and gets that 5 Hexite. A little better of a start for Bosse this game.
Yeah, for sure. Getting that central control tower. Now, I wonder, game number 1, Bosse did kind of commit to just sticking one base and not expanding. He had a lot of units earlier, but wasn't necessarily able to do super amounts of damage. I wonder if the game plan is going to change. And whether it's going to be an earlier expansion. Oh, stuns Krieger. Krieger getting caught out. No, the movement speed gets him out of the position and out of harm's way. There's the Arandi Horned Mech now on the field.
Yep, under 2 minutes for the Horned Mech. I think that's roughly fastest possible Horned Mech. Yeah. And in the middle of the map, too. There should be another one there somewhere. There it is. This looks like this is going down. I don't think it can survive. Oh my gosh, is it going to survive with no health?
Oh, that's going to be...
one more shot.
One more shot would have done it. Alas, the Horned Mechs, one of them's gone down.
Health.
The Exalteds come out really quickly, right? And so...
Yeah, they're pretty deadly right now.
Yeah, this is looking a bit dicey for Bosse. Loses the other Horned Mech, and yeah, he does have the expansion behind us, though. I mean, maybe there's a way to reset, but yeah, GG gets called. Claire,
oh no! Oh, I think Claire might be in Bosse's head. That idle conduit is required to build more production structures, and what a supply block to Claire. So if he'd managed to just deal those 4 extra hit points before the rhinos all got there, it might have stemmed the tide of rhinos coming out.
Yeah, just small margins on the timings, right? As you say, if you got the idle conduit, could have been slightly different. But alas, we're going to have to go over to game number 3. Welcome back, everyone. It's game number 3. They've been quick, they've been short, but we shall see if things will change. Claire spawning in the northwest corner of the map, playing in blue as the Legion.
And in the southeast corner of the map, changing it up to play as the Legion. I think for the first time we've seen him do it, it is Bosse in the purple.
Expansion early as well for Bosse, so looking to make the macro play. Claire sticking with one base for now. In terms of heroes, both going for Krieger and the pets. It's going to come down to Micah, right? Small differences in a mirror match like this. It's going to be all coming down to who can extract the best. Oh, I'm not sure who hit those first. It felt like Claire did, but either way, both backing away with both heroes intact. I wonder what Claire's going to be doing with it. Going to be going super aggro, same sort of build with the Exalteds or not. And well, Bosse going for more of expansions here, so potentially looking to get the stronger economy and work from there. Now, Sammy, the Sabertooth, very low on HP. He manages to survive for now, but leaves Krieger a little bit exposed, so it's kind of 2 versus 1. Will Bosse be able to escape?
Yep. Yeah, Claire's been getting the better end of these trades, just barely. But Sammy the Sabertooth had to run. Now, Samuel the Sabertooth, very close to dying, and he's gone.
Okay. Good movement there by Bosse to get the hero out the way as well, not losing everything.
Yep. Oh, and Bosse made use of the very low hit point Sabertooth, taking that middle tower.
Yep.
I think so. Claire went for harvesters first. She got 2 harvesters. Legion harvesters are smaller and cheaper and faster to build, also easier to kill. So it takes 3 of their harvesters to equal 1 harvester of another faction. So 2 harvesters here is a little less than 1 regular harvester, and also a little cheaper from Grell or Protectorate. But starting with those means her Exalteds come out first, and here's the first one right now.
Yeah, I'm going head on. Oh, Krieger getting with the piercing shot. Krieger for Bosse has got to be careful actually, because it could be a bit dicey. Sammy the Saber Tooth manages to get out. Oh, no, he doesn't. Oh, that was a huge shot. Claire managed to get that in the end. And it seemed
Great
like
line
right at the
shot.
end of the range, right? Like, I
Right
think-
at the end, yeah, that was could not have been aimed better. If he had 1,000 tries, that was excellent.
Yeah, and
Gregar in a lot of danger, but has a lot of energy. He can get a couple of good shots off. That'll be great. If he just dies, that'll be devastating.
yeah,
And Claire just backs off.
understanding. So is there regen health here? How's that happening? Is it because of the garrison tower, or?
Yeah, heroes, when they're low on health, get that move speed and stuff, and eventually do start to regenerate some
Yeah.
health.
Okay, so it's an automatic thing for heroes. Gotcha. Exalted taking down the creep camp on the southwest. No one actually got that earlier from this, and that just shows you how aggressive these two players have tried to be. Third base expansion now for Bosse. Always trying to be a little bit ahead in terms of economy.
Yep, I think he's trying to find his advantages where he can and force Claire to stop him instead of the other way around, but she's only too happy to do that. She pretty much always keeps a scout down here by the third base, so she knew as soon as that expansion started.
Yeah.
And having the numbers here early, that's so many exalted.
Yeah, she's looking to punish the base, and it probably will be punished in the end. Unless the delete comes out. No, it doesn't. It loses it entirely.
That's tough.
Yeah, Bosse is going to lose the exalted that he has on the field, and yeah, Claire getting the advantage once again. Maybe that third base was just a little bit too greedy. Krieger having to back away. Exalted does take him down, and yeah, Claire once again getting a slight advantage. Now Bosse does have all three control towers, but you know that feels like a sort of mid to late game advantage rather than what he needs right now, which is more units.
Yeah, at the same time, I think the hope of that advantage might be what's keeping him in the game. Oh, he needs to back off with these. No, don't let them jump down the cliff.
Yeah, numbers not looking good for him. He's got to find a way to hold on and just defend for a little bit, buy himself some time to find a different solution. Going up numbers wise, Claire definitely has the advantage. Getting a couple of units down the middle. Looking to just try and contest the control tower for as long as possible. But definitely an uphill task now for Bosse, as the third base expansion comes out for Claire in the north. Oh, bit of a greedy one here for Bosse as well, and Claire will spot that. Unfortunately, that will go down pretty quickly. She's punishing absolutely everything in this grand final.
That one was canceled, so he got the recoup on the resources there. But I mean, he just doesn't quite have the supply to keep up right now. Claire got the towers back. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another quick GG here.
Yeah, the exhausted number's just down now for Bosse. Just took a couple of bad fights, and Krieger getting some shots off, but unfortunately, there it is. GG gets called. Claire with a quick 3-0. Still one more game she needs, but we'll see if she gets it in the next one. Whether Bosse could maybe come back with a game on the board. Okie dokie. Game number 4, sporting in the southwest in purple. As the Grell, it's Bosse.
And here in the northeast, in the blue, playing as the Legion, it is Claire on game point.
So we're back on Canyon, and Boss has got a lot of work ahead of himself. Like, he's got to find a way just to get a point on the board at least, and then work from there. He has gone for Torque and Monda versus Krieger and Sammy the Sabretooth. Sammy the Sabretooth is a bit exposed, might get taken down. Can Monda snipe him down? No. Sammy gets out of harm's way. But yeah, with a lot of work for Bosse to do, there's a question mark about how we deal with the fast exalted rush build from the Legion. And there's a double bestiary, so it looks like it's going to be the same thing once again. No expansions for either player just yet, understandably so, because of the aggression that's coming out from Claire. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure, I'm not too sure how Bosse deals with it. He's got to find something out of a hat, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be tricky. I kind of wonder, like, so Exalted are not great. I don't know if Bosse is in the mindset to be thinking of this on the fly here. But they're not that great against, as you pointed out with the Commandos, the light, fast, numerous units, because they can only trap one unit at a time. It takes time and APM to do that. Stingers are fast and numerous units. Maybe we should go to the whole other end of the spectrum and make some Stingers until Claire gets off the Exalted and starts building something else. I don't know if he'll do it, though.
Got smashed there for a second, and yeah, I mean, something's got to change, right, for this series to keep on going. And well, at the moment, we've gone for an incubator, and we'll be going for a second base expansion after that, which is also truth to be said for Claire. It's gone for the second base as well.
Yep, and Bosse has gone for his old favorite strategy, which was Valkaru and Shock Troopers instead of Arandi and Horde Mechs. So similar, but a little bit different. So we'll see what happens.
Right, Torquemunda grouping up together again. Krieger gets the shot off and might just about get out of there. I feel like surely Krieger goes down here. No, unfortunately Mondar didn't keep up. Krieger should be able to escape. Although going to the fight once again, Valkyrie Shock Troopers might get a shot off. No, they can't quite keep up. The Exalted, really powerful unit for the Legion actually. Got the mobility and got the ability to stun their enemy too. It's a pretty cool unit.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, they're coming around for the Shock Troopers.
Oh yeah, trying to get this around, and probably will get this around. I don't think there's any way out now actually. Probably being body blocked into a corner. Simon the Sabertooth.
Oh, and the line
down.
shot.
Yeah, good line shot in the end.
Yeah, this is tough because if the hero and Sammy get taken down, that's tough. Okay, good. The crazy Torque takes down a couple of Exalted by himself.
Yeah, did die though in the end, and so unfortunately, Boss is going to be left undefended. That second base expansion, at least the extractor is going to go down.
Yeah, he just upgraded the base. He was already upgrading it with a turret, and that Dark Blessing top bar ability for the Legion does stun the unit when it ends. So 2 Exalted went down to the base. So Claire's advantage was big enough in that she got the tower, but didn't get any structural damage done.
Yeah, we have seen it time and time again though, with Claire not necessarily having to dive on in, and probably will look to expand or maybe even just get the 3rd control tower as the 2 heroes do spawn back up again. Actually, Boss will go for a 3rd base as well. Question is that going to be too greedy? It's behind on supply, but it's got to do something, right? Got to do something drastic. But for now, it probably is going to be a holding game, right? Because 3rd base, and needs to find a way to make that pay off and just hold the inevitable push that's going to be coming in soon, I would imagine. With all these Exalted from the Legion and from Claire. Also, Torquemunda are going to start hitting from the top part of that.
Yeah, it's good use of the high ground. You can't see up there from the down low unless you have an air unit. So they got a free hit there, but it's going to need a few more free hits to come back.
Yeah, a couple of Exalters going down the west side. Claire getting an idea that there is that 3rd base expansion, looking to punish it and already looking to take out some of the extractor. And unfortunately, Boss's army wasn't where it's needed. There's not too many units there anyway. Torquemunda going to be the mainstay of that fight. A couple of lashes behind them. Krieger will go down there for Claire. So nice to reset. The Exalted, I think they've got Dark Blessing on them, and they're definitely looking fast. Exalted are
But now they're
fast,
stunned.
anyway.
Can he catch up to the stunned one?
Catch
Yes. Oh, he got it. Look at those.
Fly.
It was jumping
Holy
down the
moly.
cliff when it died, and it just bounced.
I gotta say, I love some of those animations. I don't know if they're
Yeah,
intended,
it's
but they
fun.
actually look pretty cool, actually, at times.
I think it's because it was jumping down, and the physics just said, because you're jumping down,
Yeah.
you're still going to keep jumping in the air, but it's fun. Super Smash Brothers
Yeah.
death animations.
You'd love to see it. Now, lash numbers are starting to build up for Bosse, so maybe that's a way that he can deal with the Exalted. But he's got to get a critical mass before he can really push on out. He's on 2 bases rather than 3 that Claire has.
Yeah, this is the longest Bosse's lasted in a game in a while here against Claire. The longest anyone's lasted in a game against Claire in a long while.
Yeah.
I really hope we get to see some mid and late game tactics and see how the Lashers can do in large numbers. I think they'll do quite well once the numbers get big enough.
Yeah, Lashes just move a bit north. I mean, essentially Boss is just looking to protect what he has at the moment, understandably so. But unfortunately, which he probably doesn't know, he is behind on economy, so sitting back like this is not going to do him any favors in the mid to late game. But he can't move out just yet, just doesn't have the numbers.
Yeah, he is starting to take the middle of the map in that very Grell way with cultivators turning into cultivator attackers. And they've got those nourishing pods behind them to heal them up. So that's a tough wall to breach, especially if there's an army there.
Alright, a lot more. Oh, got the Valkyrie Hounds added into the mix, but he's sticking with the 4-legged animal units, which is pretty cool to see, I gotta say. Legion, we haven't seen a Thrall for a long time.
It's true, it's Kragar and all the beasts.
Yeah. Nuke comes out on
Oh,
the Northern
dude,
Cods.
just finished. I think that was her timing to go attack. And the Valkyrie Beast from Claire also. That's tough. I mean, it's amazing how she makes it look easy to take down a wall like that when most of the time that's a point you just run away from.
Yeah, lashes are starting to break out though. Oh, might get surrounded though. Well, that's a big army from Claire coming in from both sides. Nuke gets deployed, takes out a couple of lashes.
Oh
And
wow, that was.
yeah, this is the end fight you expect to see. That Claire is gonna likely take these lashes down.
I think that's it. That's the series. She did it. Claire is so good, and that was amazing right there at the end. I just want to mention she went up to that high ground, made it look like her whole army had gone to the left. So when Basse went to pursue, the nuke came from a direction he wasn't expecting and really wrecked the lashers. I mean, that was excellent.
Yeah, it was a great surround in the end, and well, GG got called. Claire will be the Zerospace.gg Sting tournament champion. Hats off to her. It's been an absolutely phenomenal performance, and I hope you guys have been enjoying the show and all the games that we've seen so far. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out.